Hi, welcome to the Higher Fish. My name is Patrick. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I think I might make that last video. Oof, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that one. I might make it unlisted and put it in the description for this one. I don't know. I'll probably just leave it up. I'll just leave it up. All right, so I'm going to be grabbing the Witch's Tarot, which is right here, conveniently enough. And I'm going to be pulling for, I guess I'll do an overall for the eclipse, this solar eclipse, and sort of whatever this is about. And hopefully that is encompassing enough that we'll get pieces of everything. So I'm going to do this how I typically do the like the season readings. If you saw those on my Legacy channel, if not, then you'll see how I do it when I do it. And then after that, I'm going to run through and do that world at the bottom of the deck, the Five of Swords in the world. After that, I'm going to lay the cards out and run through the Zodiac to see if there's an extra sort of little layer, I guess, that wants to be more specific. And Temperance and the Eight of Pentacles. That's a lot of hard work. And maybe potentially go by the Rising, because I feel like, Rising sets your house system, which sort of tells you how all of these things happen. Temperance and the Hermit in different areas, oh my gosh, of your life. I don't know what that was. But yeah. So the Ace and the Two of Pentacles, I'm already feeling like better, because whatever that mess was trying to be today, I don't have time for it. Man, maybe I should have went with it, because I was like, I'm gonna set my intention for, like, what we need now. And there's Karma. I love that. So this is gonna be the card I look for, because Judgment in this deck is Karma, and it's a solar eclipse. So that's gonna be the significator, and we're gonna pull around it. Okay. Well, Death, the King of Pentacles, and the Shadow side. Oof. So masculine energy is transforming. I feel like we may be going from a more material masculine to a less material masculine. Maybe a more emotional masculine, It's not all about the money, money, money. It's not all about the price tag. Okay. We'll cut this in half, and then we'll start. I'm going to be pulling from the bottom of the deck. I guess I got to do it this way. Starting with the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is interesting. This is Pisces energy, mutable water. But also we're in Cancer season, right? So Mercury in retrograde in Cancer season, with the Eight of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords, followed by this Ace of Cups, though. So someone may have been planning something for a cute little minute now. And it's like maybe they were waiting for a signal to release whatever they want to release, followed by the Star card, and then this Knight of Pentacles. Yes, love this energy. Followed by the Moon, though. And it's like it's not desperation, but it's like sitting on it too long. It's like you're sitting on a hot coal and it's starting to burn your buns. Your buns are starting to get a little toasty, so going to be wanting to move. And then there's a little year, followed by the Ace of Wands and the Nine of Pentacles. So definitely coming after this, followed by the Four of Wands. Wow, interesting. Blessed creation is what comes to mind. If you're a creative, then you might be, this is general, take it as it resonates, coming upon an opportunity where your creativity will certainly get you some ducats, as my mother said earlier. She got my fortune and I got hers. We only got 2 fortune cookies. I was like, well, what's your fortune say? Because my fortune was bogus. It wasn't bogus, but it was like, you are sociable and entertaining. I said, what? Sociable and entertaining? What am I going to do with this? The Queen of Wands is the first, followed by the Sun. Wow. And the Fool. Wow. And that Queen of Cups. So sitting on top of that, that is some very interesting energy. I'll go 3 layers deep. If I have to go further, I guess I will, but you know. But then I was like, what did your fortune say? She was like, good luck is on the way. I was like, I got yours, you got mine. She was like, I want some good luck too. I was like, There's karma. This is interesting because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So fairly close to the middle of everything and on the second level out of 3. So this is going to be the heart of a lot of stuff. And already here's that 5 of Wands. So this is going to be interesting. Interesting times we live in it? Interesting times we live in it? Like, yeah, real interesting. Actually, I'll pull these. I'll just do the heart. I'll do the heart. I won't do everything on the side because that'd be too much anyway. If I had more space, I could do like a full, like, you know, Celtic crossing type shape. But oh, the Emperor just missed it. Oh, and the King. Okay, this is interesting. So now we start with the 7 of Swords, the King of Swords, the Page of Cups, and the Emperor on top of this whole interesting thing, right? So with the 7 of Swords, I feel like someone is realizing that the longer you refuse to embark upon a quest, to take that first step on the journey, the longer you kind of sort of hold yourself back. Lover sitting on top of that karma. Oh my gosh. The longer you hold yourself back from getting it. And so ultimately, you're the only person stealing your own happiness right now. For some people. For some people, for other people, maybe not. You know? Depends. But someone is feeling like they're in their own way. And, ooh, Justice, love it. Then we have Strength right here, leading the pack, and the Empress, Strength and the Empress. Okay, well, let's see. Strength, the 7 of Wands, the Queen of Swords, the 3 of Cups, the 2 of Cups, and the Empress are all sitting on the outside. They're going to be joined by a whole bunch of other stuff here soon, so don't freak out, don't worry. But this is how I do it. This is the middle, and these are the outside. And this will be like past, present, future, blah, 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 blah. But so they realize that they've been standing in their own way. There's some truth that they have to face, open up emotionally, and become this Emperor. And the Emperor came out first. The Emperor came out in the thumbnail for the last video with the 6 of Cups, which is interesting. So, you know, I guess this is all, it's going to be some returning focus here. There's going to be a focus on returning. I'm trying to get through this, not fairly quickly, like intentionally quickly, but, you know, quick enough. If I had more space, I would use a different deck. Oh, I could use Aquarius. Kawaii. So Justice is going to be sitting at the top. Kind of sort of like that. And here we go. So this will be, I guess I could do this from your perspective, or I could try to do this from your perspective. So we're focused on the present moment for sure. Because, is this the World card? Wasn't the World card like the first one that came out before? What was on top? I'm gonna do my best to remember. Ooh, the 4 of Wands. I like that. Oh, wow. And then there's that 7 of Pentacles again. Just saw the 7 of Pentacles with the Mystic Monday. So this is confirmation that all that foolishness, some of it might come out again. But I've done what I'm supposed to. So the rightmost is the 3rd. Leftmost is the 1st. So this is future. So future, past, root, goal, crown, whatever. Right. And so right now we're in the present moment because this came out in the second pile, right at the heart of it. The significator came out in the second round. If it came out in the first, it would be like a past focus. If it came out in the third, it'd be a future focus. But this is in the present. And surrounding the present moment, we have the Lovers and we have the 3 of Pentacles. And this is interesting because this solar eclipse is happening pretty close to the summer solstice, getting right into Cancer season. Mercury is in retrograde in Cancer. We just came out of an 18-month period of the North Node being in Cancer. And so there's almost this feeling that in the past 18 months specifically, there may have been some kind of change or development in you specifically that could have been reflected in someone else potentially. But it's almost like something within the last 18 months is about to make sense. And it's like we're not going backwards, but we may be reaching into the back seat of the car to grab something, right? And move it to the front. Something's going to be moving from the back seat to the passenger seat or to the driver's seat. You may be moving to the passenger seat, but this isn't, it's not that you're going to not have a say in anything, but you may be navigating while the other person is driving, right? You know, back in the days before TomToms and GPS could talk, some you might print off you might have the person looking at the map. You may have somebody printed off the MapQuest directions or, Google directions. So it's like one person's going to be navigator, the other person's going to be driver. And so there's a level of cooperation that needs to exist here. But this only works if you're heading in the same direction, right? If you're not going in the same direction, because I feel like both people would be at this Three of Pentacles state. So they're both starting to build something, but you're starting to build it together. And it's almost like you're building towards each other to then build up. And it feels like these emerging of kingdoms. And then where they meet, that's where this palace is erected at the border, at the boundary between these two kingdoms. And it could be even more, but right now it's about these two. The other two directions may come in later. So in the past, we have the Four of Wands, the Ten of Wands, and the Five of Cups. So the Ten of Wands, he's going somewhere, so that's a spiritual journey. It's a 10 spiritual journey, though. It's not a 6 journey with the Six of Swords. It's not an 8 journey with the Eight of Cups. It's a 10 journey. So this is definitely hard mode. But I feel like it's only difficult, or it was, because this is the past, right? Past, present, future. This is the top, that's the bottom for you. And so in the present moment right now, you're sitting at this Ten of Wands sort of intersection between an old reality and a new one. And it's interesting because we had the Four of Wands in the past, but the Five of Cups in the future. And on a more cosmic scale, or not cosmic necessarily, but on a more global scale, I feel like this is how, because the Four of Wands is not, like, this is not completion. This is not over. This is a celebration, but it's not, right? There is more to go. And so it's like I feel like we got stuck in some areas societally celebrating minor triumphs and minor victories instead of continuing the forward movement and continuing the forward progress. And that's why we're at this Ten of Wands space now. So this could be playing out in your personal life as some kind of relationship, but also this could be playing out on a more collective scale when it comes to the events happening right now. And so with the events happening right now, we have this opportunity to clear a lot of karma, because this is judgment karma, right? So in the present moment, we have this opportunity to clear a lot of karma because things were not working in the past. And moving into the future, we're de-escalating from this 10 to this 5, but it still requires more work, right? This is going to require conversation, and it's going to require for folks to come to the table as equals. And the root cause, we have this death card, the need for immense transformation, because this isn't a 6 of swords, right? This is a death card. We have karma and we have death, complete and total transformation. And then, like, the purpose behind all of this, the reason why it's happening, is the 7 of Pentacles, to get us to build closer to a future that is more equitable, profitable for all, that we actually want. The Pentacle, the suit of Pentacles is very nurturing, and it's very family oriented. And so it would be more community focused than the suit of Cups would be, right? Because the suit of Cups is like, you and one other person. The suit of Pentacles is like your whole family, right? This could be Earth itself. And so that's kind of sort of the general overall. And so it's like we have this sort of complacency in the past. We celebrated these like minor achievements and we stopped progressing forward. And in the future, this is kind of sort of like, both of these are kind of sort of the now moment. And this may be a projected future that some people see. Is this 5 of Cups separation, longing for this time back here. But in reality, this time wasn't working. If this was working, karma wouldn't be sitting here, and none of this would be necessary. If this were enough to get us proceed into the future, right? And this is why this is all happening. This is sort of like the underlying reasons why. Like, these two play similar roles, but this is like the motivation behind everything, like what's bubbling under the surface, and this is like why it's sort of all coming to be right now. Right, like we wouldn't need this death if this was like, if that's where it was. And moving, well, let's look at sort of the root cause. So we have this major transformation here, and there's this halving energy. We go from 10 to the 5, and then we go from 6 to the 3. And then we have this Lovers here, which would be a 3 and a 3-6 if they're equals coming together, right? And so it's also interesting that we got the 4 of Wands and the 6 of Wands in the past. But I think we're realizing, or some people are realizing, with this eclipse, there's almost a lifting of the veil, removal of illusion, breaking of the facade type of energy, because death is looking at the past. Death is looking at this 6 of Wands, and this 6 of Wands is looking away from death. So this is a hollow victory. And it's a hollow victory because it came by means that were not that great. And that's why he can't face this death energy, and that's why death is coming for whatever this was. And so there was a sort of system in play, because 4 is a number of stability, right? It's the first, 4 is the first number of stability. So it could be the house or the home. The first true, when we really start to build upon that foundation. And so it's like there was this corrupt foundation that served a certain person or people, but wasn't for everyone. And it's almost like it thrived on this sort of conflict, because if we just look at the past, right, we would have the 6 of Wands, the 4 of Wands, the 3 of Pentacles, the 5 of Swords, and this Chariot. So this was all about progression and forward movement for a certain group of people or individuals. All of this is about control, right? But certain people found victory and movement in this system that they kind of sort of stopped in, but it was held and maintained by this sort of Five of Swords energy, right? This is what would have been necessary to keep all of this in place and moving. And then with this Three of Pentacles, the prodigal son just came to my mind, but there's almost this energy of rewriting something. And again, like this is by candlelight, so there's only partial illumination here. And then we see this stained glass window that could speak of organizations that are built to built around a specific purpose and a specific function. And then going from this 3 here to the 7 here, it's all about expanding this outward to be more inclusive, to actually go towards a future that's brighter and more caring for everyone. In the future, like we have the Lovers, we have the Star, we have the Three of Wands, we have the World, and then we have this Five of Cups here. But this Five of Cups, I'm feeling like it's related to whatever this stuff was in the past, right? Because this was stable for some people, and some people benefited off of this, but it's time for this to change. So this is the collective right now, because why not? But, you know, it's all being revealed. And so that's why this transformation needed to happen, and we need to sort of move forward in a different way. And with this Three of Wands, it may not necessarily be the case that we need to abandon everything, but half of it needs to be done away with, at least, right? Because, I mean, if you go from the 10 to the 3, oh, okay. Anyway, let me not get too carried away, because this is also a 3. This is a 5. So we're going to from the 10 to the 5, from the past to the future. So we're deciding what's worth having, what isn't worth having. There's also in the future this de-escalation energy here. So instead of the Five of Swords, where everyone is, now we're moving to the future. Instead of the Five of Swords, where everyone is sort of sticking to their guns and they're more interested in their own perspectives and their own sides of the story than what may be the truth. They're more interested in like what benefited them. Right, this is very much the energy of like, I miss the days, like people are too politically correct nowadays. That's just Five of Swords. People are too politically correct. You know, back in the day, things were better because I could be bigoted and mean and nasty and not face any real social consequence for it. And it's like, okay, but just because you did it in the past, like let's look at the past with the eyes we have now. So now, socially, societally, we can see that this is wrong. Right? You shouldn't do this to people. So if we take this perspective now to the past, it's like, okay, well, maybe you should have never done this in the first place. And what was this foundation? What was this, you know, establishment that you felt or that it was more justified in the past? It was crap. That's why this transformation is here, right? This isn't a 10 of Swords, right? Like this is the major for death. So this was necessary. This isn't just like a group of people or 2 or 3 people saying like, hey, like, I don't like that. This is something that's necessary in order for us to move to this new world in the future of the future, right? But anyway, so now we're moving into this Five of Wands space and going from the Five of Swords to the Five of Wands, 5, 5. Hey, is there another 5 on the table somewhere? I don't think so. Yeah, 5, 5, 5. 5, 5, 5. 5 of Cups, 5 of Swords, 5 of Wands. 5 of Pentacles is the only thing that's not here. But going from the Five of Swords to the Five of Wands, this is a softening energy. So we're becoming less abrasive. We're listening now. It may still involve a certain element of debate because, you know, no one person has the solution moving forward. It requires a meeting and a melding of the minds to come up with something truly brilliant and sort of equitable and working, right? Meeting of the minds here as well. Meeting of the minds to make this happen. Boom. But there's still going to be an element of education, for lack of a better word, that needs to happen, of understanding as these systems crumble and fall apart, right? Because regardless of who's behind the helm, it's had a direct effect on many societies. And so as people, it's almost like it's not enough for, let's say there's this huge expose, like this is the one group of people who is responsible for everything, blah, 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 whatever. But the heart has still been conditioned. Minds have still been conditioned. So there's an element of deconditioning and reconditioning that needs to happen in order to propel us into this new world moving forward. And then up here, for sort of like the overarching reason why this is happening, we have the Seven of Pentacles right now. So right now it's all about tending to this, and it's about not neglecting it and not ignoring it. If you neglect and ignore your crops, they'll die. You don't have to watch them, but you do have to tend to them, every day or every other day, depending on what plant you have, I guess. But these are looking pretty lush. So, you want to make sure that you're checking in on your crops, but you don't want to overwater because then you'll drown the roots, and you don't want to overfeed because then you'll mess up the balance of nutrients in the soil, right? And you don't want to constantly be moving this from planter to planter either, because, plants kind of sort of go into shock when you uproot them and then plant them somewhere else. Plants can go through shock too, But in the past, I feel like with this Chariot, it's almost like these two horses weren't aligned. And it's easier for the dark horse to take control because the light horse, a lot of times it's like, oh, it's free will. It's about choice. We can't go down and do anything for you. You have to want it. But the dark horse is just like, I want what I want and I'm going to get it. So we've been led down this path that didn't lead here. And also, death is on the pale horse, right? And so it's like this horse had to bolster its forces in some way to begin to question these systems and question even the people who were on the people who were more benefiting from the things that were taking place, because, that's how the system was set up. Even that pale horse, and again, it's not coded to color. But even the pale horse is starting to you have to bolster the ranks, right? There's an element of conversion here, but it's a conversion that happens through the opening of the heart, right? People are starting to be like, that's not right. We shouldn't do that. And it's happening in multiple sectors and multiple areas of life. And, we're also starting to demand more from a whole bunch of systems, right? Especially when we look at the response to when our lives are in danger, either more separately as specific communities or more collectively as the pandemic rolled in. And then you got people just anyway, let's not get into all that. It happened to illuminate something. With this eclipse energy, it happened to illuminate something. And keep in mind, Justice is at the bottom of the deck with the King of Pentacles right behind her. Love that. What was that? Ooh, okay, the 10 of Pennies. All right. Liberty and justice for all, instead of just, this king. Let me stop. Or not let me stop, but, anyway. Let's continue. And look, the 7 is here, and that's what we're building towards. But to get to that 10, we have to bring justice to this 10 of Pentacles. Or this King of Pentacles needs to be brought to justice in order for us to go from the 7 to this 10. Right? These systems need to be critiqued, analyzed, and rewritten in a lot of ways. Again, it's like half of it needs to go. Going from the 10 to the 5, the 6 to the 3, another 6 to another 3. But it's like we're having things, but we're going from 21 to 20 at the same time. So there's this pruning energy that I guess is also incorporated with this 7 of Pentacles. Like if a crop is dying, Or if you notice that it's not going to grow, then you can pull it up and plant something that will grow, right? And also, if something is sick, you may want to remove it before the sickness spreads. But so we're going to be, it's like we're bolstering the forces on the light side to get enough people to say like, hey, you know, this isn't right, to de-escalate things so some actual conversation can begin to happen, because conversation needs to be had between multiple people, right? Conversation isn't like one person who refuses to move talking to someone who is trying to actually get some kind of progress or who is trying to accomplish something, right? Because you can come under the guise of having conversation, but if you're in this Five of Swords state of mind, it doesn't matter what the other person says, you won't be convinced. And then that keeps you stuck. And it's almost like there's a moment of pause here before things really kick off. I'm kind of sort of surprised the Wheel of Fortune didn't come out. I might go looking for it. But yeah. Hey, Mimi. Hola, Mimi. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás ustedes? I took Spanish in like elementary school, so. Lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. So we're aligning the horses, we're making forward movement, knowing that it's going to take time and it's going to take some TLC, right? To reach the star state. And the star state, like, this is what we've all been sort of hoping for, more or less. Bien. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then we're going to be moving into this Lovers. And I feel like this Lovers, sitting on top of this Three of Pentacles in the present moment, this Three of Pentacles is embodying everything that we've been wishing for. Right? It's like where you're writing your letter to Santa, and then Santa sends you, like, you know, a recipe. Build it yourself. These are the materials you're going to need. These are the tools. These are the instructions. Make that wooden toy train yourself. And you're like, what, Santa? I just wanted the train. I didn't want the instructions. But, you know, with the Lovers, like, this is something that we have to choose ourselves and something that we have to build ourselves. And we go from 3 people in this card to 2 people in this one, which is interesting. But there's almost a feeling like the person in the middle, the third person is spirit, and it's like pushing you two together, or the collectives, different communities within the collective together for us to resolve it ourselves. But it's almost like, you know, for the first time ever, we're going to have to be seeing things eye to eye. For the first time ever, we're seeing it eye to eye. And that's how we move forward. So that's more on a collective scale. That's the only way we're going to get to this new world, by the way. I feel like, you know, and then it's like, maybe I'm just watching the wrong people, right? But, you know, if we're bringing this King of Pentacles to justice, like, you don't just ignore it. Like, this is not the time to be ignoring anything, because Spirit is very hands-off right now. If you hadn't noticed, maybe that's why you feel a little extra lost. Maybe that's why you feel a little more confused. Or maybe not. Maybe you're just swimming in the same direction you were always going in, and you're just going to kind of sort of completely miss it because, you know, at this point, if you're missing it, it's because you want to, honestly. I mean, it's karma. Like, everything is coming to the surface. And, you know, to cleanse karma, to clear karma, sometimes you have to do something to really wipe the slate clean. It's like you have to grab the eraser and erase the board. But you want to make sure you know what's on the board before you erase it, because if you don't, then you're just going to end up writing the same thing over again, right? It's like you're solving a math problem, but you run out of space. And so you go back to the beginning and you erase the stuff in the beginning, and you leave the stuff at the end so you can continue to build off of it. But if you don't remember why you're doing this in the first place, you're going to get lost, or it's easier to get lost. On a more personal level, this could just be speaking of burdens that we're going to be dropping. It's like, you know, maybe there was a place in the past that we think we want to return to. And we're going to be, with this death card and with this karma, we're being called out of that place, out of that space from the past into something new. And we may be thinking that what we had in the past was the best we're ever going to get. And that's why we fear this, you know, Five of Cups coming in the future. This is all the past. But this is why we may fear this Five of Cups coming in the future. But in reality, once we let go of these extra burdens and once we allow the things that need to be cleansed and cleared and transformed to be cleansed and cleared and transformed, again, this is kind of sort of going back to that King of Cups, Page of Cups. If we're more interested in staying comfortable and staying victorious, we're going to miss out on everything. You're going to miss out on this whole new world. You're going to miss out on this ultimate wish fulfillment. And it's funny because the back of the star came out yesterday. When you align with your highest self, expect miracles. You're going to miss out on those miracles if you're more interested in keeping whatever little bit of power you have, right? Rather than allowing that to be transformed and moving forward and caring and cultivating and tending in a way that ultimately leads to what you want. And you're manifesting it, but you have to decide to go after it, right? Because love is a choice that we make, that we act on every moment of every day. And there maybe it's not like you're gonna have moments where, you know, you're not frustrated or whatever, but love is a choice that you continue to make, and you continue to act in that choice. You can continue to act based on that decision. And it's gonna be like everything is having the 10 of Wands to the 5 of Wands, 6 of Wands to the 3 of Wands. We have the 6 and the Lovers to the 3, and the 3 in the World. What is this? What's the Chariot? Is this a 7? Yeah, the Chariot is a 7. The 7 of Pentacles is a 7, and the Star is a 17-8. Yeah. So we have 7-7-8, or 7-7-7 plus 1. And then this is 6. This is 6. No, 13. Yeah, 13. So 6, 4, 3. The 5 is missing here. The 5 of Wands is over here, though. So there's almost this, there's a time loop here with this eclipse energy. Because here at this is the top for you. This is the bottom. No, this is the top. Oh my gosh, I already said this is the root. This is the root. This is the crown. This, I get confused. Anyway, it is what it is. It stands. So in the root, the future is involved in why this is happening. And it happens before this transformation happens. 6, 5, 4, 3. And then these are all wands, right? If I move this up here, these will all be wands. 6, 5, 4, 3. And the 4 that this would take is right here. So this 4 of Wands, what you used to think was hot and popping and cool and would have worked, is being transformed. But you can see both the past and the future are converging on this now moment, with death being the energy of breaking the loop, breaking the cycle, and starting something brand new. It's like whenever, I've never seen Groundhog Day, but I've heard of the premise of Groundhog Day. So it's kind of like Groundhog Day. It's like that one episode of Supernatural where they go to the weird house and they keep waking up on Tuesday, and like Dean dies every day or something like that. And then he wakes up and then he dies in a different way when he tries to do something different. And so it's like we're stuck in these cycles, but they're playing out different. And it's almost like there's almost an energy of like, it's like, what was it? Was it Happy Death Day? I think it was Happy Death Day. Like as a horror movie, the movie is super cheesy. You listen to the song from Groundhog Day the day before yesterday, and then here I am talking about it today. So hey, loops coming out of the ground dancing. What? Oh, 6 more months of winter. Oh my gosh. Why did I say 6 more months of winter? We cannot stay in this space until December, y'all, because then that's when winter actually starts. No. See, you love Happy Death Day. I do too. It was such a good one. It's like, it's not super, like, I figured out, I knew who the killer was. I figured out who the killer was. But to be fair, I did question like literally everybody at the same time. But I knew who it was. But at the same time, I was like, oh, it's him. Oh, it's her. Oh, it's that person. Oh, it's the teacher. Oh, it's the janitor that we don't even see on camera. But yeah, I think in the movie, I think it was Happy Death Day. No, maybe it wasn't. What was it? There was a show. I don't think it was Happy Death Day. I saw it somewhere where they kept going back in time to try to fix something. But every time they went, maybe it was Happy Death Day. I don't remember. Yeah, she did. So maybe I can't remember what it was. It doesn't matter what it was specifically. There was one thing I saw where the protagonist would keep going back in time, but their body would maintain all of the injuries that they suffered. Actually, it might have been Eureka. It was probably Eureka, and it might have been Sheriff Carter. So if my Sheriff Carter is out there watching, I finished Eureka, and I'm still waiting on you to come in, low key. Let me stop. I mean, I'm serious. Chef Carter, wherever you are out there, Jack, I could use your help. And by your help, I mean some cuddles. 3 of Swords, no! Why? The 3 of Swords, boo. Well, let's bring that to justice, okay? 8 of Swords, okay. I'm not doing myself any favors. And the shadow side, all right. That's what's going on. 3 of Swords, 8 of Swords, and the Devil. Okay, well, as long as you want to keep playing those games, I guess. Let me stop. It might have been Eureka. Every time they came back to the beginning, their body maintained the injuries. So it reached the point where it was like, if you don't solve it on this go around, your body's not going to be able to take another reset. And that's the energy here. Like, we can't, like, energetically, like, we can't afford all these resets. Because when you reset, it doesn't wipe the slate clean. It doesn't change the record, right? Like if we're playing a game of chess and I win and we reset the board, we start the game over at the beginning, yes, but I still have that win, right? And if we play again, I get 2 wins. We play again, I get 3 wins. We play again, I got 25,000 wins. We play again, I got 1,723,942,239 wins. And eventually you're going to get tired of playing the game, right? And so it's like, this is the last, or one of the final ones. If we wipe the slate after this, it's over. It's just over, right? But with this karma, that's why things are becoming so apparently, that's why things are becoming so aware. That's why things are becoming so apparent, right? Because with this justice card, like Spirit knows that we're aware. We have no excuse anymore. There's no excuse anymore. And there's no reason why we can't win. There's no reason why we can't win, why you can't win. But if you're held fast to the past, and if you're more interested in being comfortable and feeling like you're in power than actually questioning and tackling all of these hard things surfacing right now, you can forget about this, you can forget about this, and you can forget about this, and you can pretty much forget about this. What you'd have left, I don't know. But that's sort of the major overall right now. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shuffle these up, and then we'll look around the zodiacs. Yeah, I think. Oops, I'm pretty sure it was Eureka. And at first, he couldn't convince anybody that he was repeating the same day. Yeah, it was Eureka. It was Eureka. They got a new clock that was more. It was more precise than the atomic clock, and the clock was quantum. They got a new quantum clock, and oh my gosh, why do these not want to shuffle? They got a new quantum clock. They installed it, and so Jack, for whatever reason, was the only person that repeated that day. And something happened every day. And it's interesting that the Four of Wands came out because that day was someone's wedding day. And I don't want to go into spoilers territory because Eureka is an amazing show. It's an amazing sci-fi show. One of my favorite shows. Felicia Day is in there. I love Felicia Day. And yeah, so he couldn't, since he was the only one repeating that day. A lot of people don't listen to Jack in that show because everyone else is a genius and he's just the sheriff, right? And so everyone else is like, you know, this is too important. You know, we're the actual people who know actual things. And it's, you know, by the end of the day, it's like, you know, you think you'd learn to listen to Jack. A PhD don't get you common sense. And you can't buy common sense. A PhD like that ain't, you know, whatever. Ooh, hangman. But yeah, and something about like the timelines were like falling apart. His body couldn't take the repeats. He didn't know what was going on, and so eventually he convinced the people, and they shut it down. But it did come with a sacrifice at the same time. So, you know. All right, and this is where we're going to start. Aquarius, first out on the table. And I'm just going to keep going. Girl, I'll timestamp these. I'll try, I guess. No, well, I'll timestamp them by rounds, and then you'll just have to listen in a round. Because I ain't got time to be doing all of this. That'd be way too many timestamps. So we're starting with Aquarius at the star, and we're going to be ending this first round with the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles has been coming out a lot today, and I feel like Spirit has, it's like you have this pentacle and Spirit has the other pentacle, Ace of Pentacles right here. So you may think you're juggling and balancing things, but either you level up to par or you don't. So let me open up my little notes app. Who we got on the table right now? Who is this? This is the Fool. He's so bright, y'all. We can't even see him. That's Mercury energy. Oh, for the longest time. Oh, for the longest time. Do, 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 do. I'm actually going to do a little voice. Aquarius, comma, Virgo. We only got two? We only got two in this round? What? Aquarius, Mars, the Moon, Mercury, Virgo. Wow. Oh my gosh. We only got two. Well, Aquarius and Virgo. I'm going to timestamp this at 49:45. And we're going to be starting with Aquarius. So around Aquarius, I'm going to do the northeast, southwest. So the challenge, let me make sure I'm doing this right. Oh, I'd be getting so confused. Because let's see. This is left, this is right. This is the left side of the screen, and that's the left side of the screen. This is the right side of the screen. This is the bottom, but that's the top. So left and right are the same. It's just top and bottom that are flipped. Okay, so the left side is the west side. Move this over here. And I got a little bit of table so you can still see it. Nice. So the challenge at your back is this Knight of Wands, Aquarius. And you are sitting at the energy of the star. You are the star. It's just, yeah, I can go ahead and do this. Because, you know. Hold up, 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 hold up. Yeah, I'm not. Because I end up confusing myself. So the challenge at your back is this Knight of Wands. So I feel like you want something, and I feel like you feel you have the ability to get it. But you may need a change in direction. No, what did I say the challenge at your back? Let me slow down. So the wind at your back is the Knight of Wands. You're being fueled by your desire right now, passion and creativity. You also have the Three of Wands here, Wands, Cups, and Swords. So not very grounded right now, but you're Aquarius. You know, that might be fine. And so it looks like your eye is on the future, but your challenge is maybe patience. It may not happen as quickly as you want it to happen, and that's a danger for this Knight of Wands because he'll burn out and he'll pursue something else. If this isn't happening quick enough, you may be liable to give up on something that you actually want. And, or this could have been something in the past that you used to want, nothing happened, and it may be coming back. Now, the Queen of Cups is the ground that you stand on. So I feel like you would be, whatever emotional healing you needed to do, I feel like you've done it for the most part. I feel like you are listening to your intuition, you're talking to spirit, still maybe a little impatient, but the star sort of that you're shooting for is this Three of Wands. So I feel like this is actually pretty good. I don't know. I guess the Ace of Pentacles is here at the bottom of the deck. The Two of Pentacles was the last card out. So this is going to be everyone's overall. Okay. So you, even though you don't necessarily have grounding in your vicinity, you do have it within your field. And again, it's like, you know, spirit has the other pentacle. And with this Queen of Cups, I feel like you're trusting her. And so whereas this Knight of Wands would have burned out in the past, with this Three of Wands up here, I feel like you're pretty dedicated to seeing it actually come to fruition. And with the Knight of Wands bringing the fourth wand to make this Three of Wands a Four of Wands, you would have this Four of Wands balancing out the Four of Swords. So both masculine sides are pretty balanced. And then with the feminine side, it's like you're opening up to your feminine side a little bit more right now. So I guess my advice was keep the faith, keep moving strong, and maybe continue to believe in, you know, the power of making dreams come true in the future, right? Because whatever you want to happen in the future, I feel like it's liable to happen as long as you stay on task. Virgo, y'all's got some interesting energy. So this is life. So the wind at your back is the Ten of Cups, fulfillment. Your oncoming challenge is the Two of Pentacles. So you know what you want. I feel like you can feel it coming, but you want to control it too much. So either this Two of Pentacles challenge for you, Virgo, is going to be, it's going to be managing control. You need to manage how much control you have over the situation, and you also need to balance that with how invested you are. How did I do this before? This was the root. That was the sign. Yeah. So closer to me is the root. So your root would be the Tower. And with your root being the Tower, and that's bottom, and this is top. Nice. Okay. With your root being the Tower, there's a lot of foundational changes going on in your life. Maybe you've recently made a lot of changes to make room for this Ten of Cups. I know I have a Virgo friend. She just moved across the country for a new start. And she, for a long time, she wasn't really the type of person to stand up for herself. And so she would kind of put up with a lot of people and put herself out for a lot of people. And Martyr kind of sort of falls more under the energy of Libra, but with Pisces and Virgo being the axis of servitude, both of those, like, you can give more to other people than you do to yourself. And then when it comes time to do for you, either you're burnt out or you're making excuses for someone else. And that's what she did for a long time. And so she worked a job that did not make her happy for years. She kind of sort of put her life on hold since 2015. And it's been more about, I don't want to throw all her tea out there, but her balance was more weighted on what other people want or what's better for other people than it was with her. And so she kind of sort of, when you're living for someone else, you kind of sort of, so I feel like this is the night sky for Virgo. There may not necessarily be a lot of stars in the sky where you are, but I feel like you're coming to the realization that the issue is light pollution. And so with this Hermit energy, you're focusing in on your own light, and you're going to be, it's like the ground that you stand on may not necessarily be changing, but the sky above you is shifting. It's like I'm seeing the sky just like literally like roll around. And so now, if you keep yourself a priority and you stay rooted and grounded to yourself and you allow the things to fall that need to fall, you're going to be shifting the sky above you to where you can actually see the stars. And then that's when this fulfillment will be coming in for you. Now, this could also be a fear. If you haven't yet released the things that you need to release, then you may be keeping yourself stuck in this Five of Pentacles situation. So my advice to you, Virgo, would be look forward. Don't look back. And keep yourself a priority. Because the Ten of Cups is at your back, propelling you forward, but this is also the space of the past. But I don't know if you'll find this Ten of Cups in the past. Unless there's been significant change to the situation back there. The last 18 months is the key focus for everybody, right? The question of what you're willing to give to get what you want arises here. And the question of what you are willing to keep to yourself to get what you want also comes up. So you need to balance how you give and what you keep. And there's a difference between what you give and what you keep. They're not the same. And I feel like you should be able to understand that through the context of, you know, making sure you're a priority, but also still being you. All right. I'm going to keep the Star on the bottom. I'm going to keep the Two of Pentacles up top. Everything else kind of sort of doesn't matter. Everything else gets lumped in together. But yeah. So that's what I got for y'all. These will be, I mean, you know, the majority of it comes out in the overall. And then this is just like a little bit extra for you. So we're going to be starting with the Ace of Pentacles. So abundance right here. Oof, and karma. Capricorn. Ooh, but y'all got that Six of Pentacles though. So hey, it ain't going to all be bad. Right? Saturn. Ooh, Saturn came out. But the Four of Wands came out too. So we're starting with the Ace of Pentacles, a whole new world, brand new world. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 8 on the table before, but 7 is fine. Followed by that Judgment, 6 of Pentacles, Saturn. Ooh, Capricorn. Cancer, Capricorn and Cancer. Wow. Ooh, Cancer. Ooh. But there's that Emperor, Aries. Capricorn, Cancer, and Aries. If Libra comes out, oh my gosh, this is the cardinal. These are all cardinal. Come on, Libra. Come on, Libra. Neptune. And we're going to be ending with the Four of Cups. Man, Libra. All the other cardinals are here. Libra's like, Venus is retrograde right now, so I guess she will be a little late to the party. But, you know, Saturn is also retrograde. Mars is direct. So anyway, this is lots of cardinal energy on this round. This is interesting. Capricorn, comma, Cancer, comma, Aries. And that's it. Technology is amazing, y'all. I'm going to say this round starts at 101.55. Ooh, I put 45. 101.55. So we're going to be starting with Capricorn first. Caps, y'all got so many retrogrades in y'all sign right now. Maybe that's why y'all got karma here. All of these retrogrades are happening in y'all sign. Pluto and Jupiter are like a degree apart. Pallas is right there. Saturn is about to be crossing the Aquarian cusp back into Capricorn here pretty soon, opposing this eclipse in Cancer, opposing this solstice, this new moon, and it's happening very, very early in Capricorn now. So all of the retrogrades are late Capricorn, and the opposition to this solar eclipse is early Capricorn. So there could be a little bit of a pull, right? Or you could kind of sort of miss it all together. If you're Capricorn, if whatever Capricorn you're watching for or not watching for, let me stop. If it's early, then you're going to be feeling this solar eclipse. If it's later, you've probably been feeling these retrogrades for a minute. But with these retrogrades comes an amazing opportunity. You have lots of opportunity. So the winds of change at your back is karma. So Capricorn, you may have been fed up enough. See, Capricorn, y'all are goats, right? So if there's a mountain that you want to climb, with this Three of Pentacles energy, Three of Pentacles is also Capricorn, it's right here. But with the Three of Pentacles energy, the 3 and then the 4, interesting. The Knight and then the King. We go from the Three of Pentacles to the Four of Pentacles, and then the Knight of Pentacles to the King of Pentacles. And this is all kind of sort of happening above you. Because this, I forget how I do it. This is at the top of the screen. The root is closest to me. Okay, I think that's how I did it. The root is closest to me. And so this would be the sky above you. Yeah, because that's how I just did it for Virgo. So the sky above you, and it's so interesting, we have this eclipse happening in the sky. So we go from the 3 to the 4 to the Knight to the King in the sky above you. You're sitting at this night moment with this King of Pentacles opportunity after that totality, also connected, therefore, to Cancer, which, you know, y'all oppose, so it's not surprising. But anyway, it's like you got, like, Capricorn is the mountain climber, the goat. I feel like when it comes to the energy of the Three of Pentacles, everyone else would need to buddy up with somebody to scale the mountain. But since Capricorn is the goat, like, you could scale that mountain yourself. It's not necessarily to have to do that, but you are capable of doing it. And so with this karma being sort of the wind at your back, I feel like you got fed up enough where you actually started to move. You may have, you might have fire in your chart somewhere, because you may have turned into a little bit of a flowing magma, right? Because magma is, it's like, it's fluid earth. Or wait, is it magma when it's under the ground, but lava? I think it's magma when it's under the earth and lava after it comes out. But I said magma. I was thinking of lava erupting from the volcano, but the magma is always there closer to the core of the earth. And so you may be tapping into, I mean, you probably had to get out of this situation. Maybe this situation, maybe you've recently, and within the past 18 months, you know, up until, you know, the day after tomorrow or whenever you watch this. So I guess from November 2018, when the South Node was in your sign. So you may have been, you know, getting it extra. Not only was, you know, all of that conjunction happening in Capricorn, the node, South Node, was also in Capricorn. So, I mean, maybe it wasn't super bad for you since you kind of sat at the epicenter of it. Maybe it's usually typically calmer at the epicenter. Sometimes it's calmer at the epicenter. Eye of the storm. It's calmer at the eye of the storm, but at the epicenter of an earthquake, you may feel it more. You get more shaken up. So, you know, it's not always better, but depending on how you handled it, either, I mean, with these cards, it feels like you're doing pretty well. Let me just keep going. So I feel like I should say the sign over and over, because I'm not time stamping individually. So Capricorn, I'm gonna keep saying Capricorn, Capricorn, Capricorn. So if you come to this point, you know it's Capricorn still. You got pushed to move, and you had to dig in deep to your core, to where the earth flows. The earth does not move on the surface, but it flows under the surface. But at the core of the core, it's solid again. So there's this space between your core and who you are on the surface, where there's this fire that you tapped into to move. And your oncoming challenge is going to be giving or letting someone else in. I feel like you're coming to a moment of solitude and solidarity within yourself, introspective solidarity, but you're going to be asked to open up a little bit. And then this is the, I keep forgetting, this is the root cause. The root cause, the ground beneath your feet, is this partnership. And so I feel like you're making yourself even more steady, coming into your own, coming into a power of who you are that refuses situations that are beneath you. Because at the end of the day, you can scale mountains by yourself. You don't necessarily need anybody else. You're cardinal earth, right? Cardinal earth. And then we had the Ace of Pentacles that came out first. But I feel like there are certain gems, certain people that you can work with. Or it's like you're learning your values so you can learn how it aligns with other people. And it's going to be those people where you come into this more equal give and take. And the sky that you're reaching for, again, it's everything up here. For you to become this king, you've already went from the 3 to the 4. With the 3, and this is interesting, because with the 3, maybe you were in partnership with somebody else, but you had to go to the 4 because of whatever this karmic situation was that happened. But now you're being asked to open up and do it slowly. Do it at your own pace. You don't necessarily have to jump back in. But as you find these gems and as you work with them, this give and take, you'll gain something that will get you to be this king. And with this king, I'm almost feeling it as the core. And so this may be very spiritual for you, Capricorn. You may find a community, 3 of Cups, a community of like-minded spiritual people that you can give and receive to and from freely, to get you closer to the core of who you are at your being. Okay, so no real advice, Capricorn. I don't feel like you need it. Moving over to Cancer. So now I'm on Cancer. So Cancer, the wind at your back is this King of Pentacles. So Cancer, I mean, North Node was in Cancer, so maybe you've had a fairly decent past 18 months, November 2018 to now. Not to say that it was without challenge, but maybe pretty decent. But just as Capricorn is kind of opening up, Cancer, I feel like you're about to shut down, low key. Cancer, I feel like you're shutting down because your oncoming challenge is the Three of Swords. The ground beneath your feet is the Hangman, and the sky that you're reaching for is this page of. Hold up, 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 hold up. Did I just do? I'd be all confused. It's fluid and it moves, y'all. So I guess it's different for different people. I'm gonna just take it how I feel it's you. Because this would be the ground, this would be the sky. This is the ground, this is the sky. Wait, that's how I read it. That's how I read it. I read this as the sky. Why? I keep confusing myself. Hold up. Let me. I'm gonna grab this Two of Pentacles right here. And this is why I left the star and the Two of Pentacles at the top and the bottom, because I know exactly where they are. Because this is the sky. The sky is the one that is closest to me. No. Because when Virgo was here, hold up. Let's do Capricorn. I said this was the sky for Capricorn. So that's why this was the ground. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I got my little clarifiers over here on the side. I got the star right here. Oops, touching the wrong cards. I got the star. I got the Two of Pentacles right here on the table to show me the ground, and this is the sky. Cancer, y'all may not know what's up and what's down. What's down, what's up, what's right, what's wrong. I'm projecting my confusion onto you, Cancer. How do you like it? Let me stop. Maybe y'all been playing a little bit of emotional games. Y'all may have been playing games, because Cancers, y'all can be a little bit emotionally manipulative. Y'all can be a lot of bit emotionally manipulative, honestly, and passive aggressive. Because I feel like Scorpio will just like straight up end you. Pisces can play out anyway, but with Cancer, I feel like instead of vocalizing how you feel, sometimes you'll just get like passive aggressive or try to manipulate people. Like the energy of Cancer, low key, is like that mom who's like, you'll ask them if they need help, and they're like, no, I got it. And then, 2 seconds later, they'll be like, I do everything in this house. No one ever helps me, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, okay, well, we literally just asked you if you needed help or wanted help, and you said no. Right. But y'all are cardinal water, so, you got that. So you may be asked to come out of your shell a little bit. Because with this King of Pentacles in the past, now I'm feeling this is Taurian energy, Cancer and Taurus sextile. Right? I didn't look at any. I feel it how it matters for. And then this is Libra, Cancer and Libra square. This is Neptune, which is Pisces. So y'all trine in a way. And then this is just water. So this could be you. So you got a sextile, you have a trine, and then you have a square. It almost feels that you've retreated to your shell in some ways, but you haven't in others. But the ways that you've retreated, the areas that you've retreated, are keeping you sort of locked in place. You share this Three of Swords with Aries. So you could either have both Cancer and Aries in your chart, or you could be dealing with an Aries, or you could be asked to be a little less watery cardinal and be more fiery cardinal, to actually make something happen, to actually do something instead of just being in the realm of like feeling it, right? This is about, be a little less woo-woo, be a little more make something happen. So somebody else can see it, right? Because you feeling it is one thing, but you need to express it in a way that is authentic, that is true, and that someone else can actually see it, Cancer. Because it almost feels like there's the King of Pentacles is nurturing, and is caring, and he does share. He's a provider, but I don't think he allows himself to be provided for. There's a little bit of an ego here where it's like, why do you do so much for so many other people but refuse help when it comes to you? It's almost like with this Aries energy, with this Emperor energy sort of lingering beyond this Three of Swords, it's almost like you derive some sense of power from giving to other people but refusing to accept from them. And that's why this Three of Swords is going to be your oncoming challenge. Because if this is a pattern or habit that you need to break, you may be put into a situation where you have to ask for help. And with this being the sky above you, then with the Hangman being the sky above you, I don't too much necessarily know if you'll do that. Because the ground that you stand on is this Page of Cups, right? So we got this King of Pentacles in the space of the past, but really in reality, you're still this child. You've been like emotionally stunted because Cancer, like you're the Queen of Cups, Cardinal Water, but you're sitting on the ground of the Page. And again, like you've sealed your heart in certain like Cancer, like I feel like y'all are, since you're a water sign, you could be really good at appearing to be caring, appearing to be emotional, appearing to be vulnerable and open, but in reality, you don't have to be. Like I'm a Pisces, right? I know how it goes. I know how it goes. Pisces, we float between Cancer energy, Scorpio energy, and we are also our own energy. We're mutable. But it's like, you know how to appear to be emotional on the surface, when in reality, that connection isn't actually there. And so when it comes to sort of take yourself away from a situation, you can do it with a quickness so easily that people may think like, wow, did like Cancer even ever really care? Like, wow, I used to think Cancer was so like vulnerable and open and emotional, but now I see Cancer's true colors. Like you've been in your shell, but the shell is a part of you at the same time. It's like a turtle, but you never come out of your shell. It's like you don't poke your head out of the shell, but you'll poke your arms and legs out so you can move, but your head is always inside the shell. Cancer, it's time for you to pull your head out of your shell. Let me stop. And this may be your challenge to get you to come out of this space. You're stuck, between the Hangman and the Page of Swords. Now, there are some things that can only be seen through the eyes of children, but at the same time, you need to have the maturity to really move forward with this Chariot energy. Because if you don't address whatever this emotional blockage is, you're not going to be sitting completely in your energy. All right, so Aries. Aries, you got the Three of Swords at your back with the Three of Pentacles, sort of your oncoming challenge. You got 2 threes. 2 threes and 2 fours. Three of Swords, Three of Pentacles, Four of Cups, and Four of Wands. I love this. It looks a little harsh in the past, but you have all of the elements at your disposal in a fairly equal number. Masculine and feminine balanced in number on both sides, with a potential to build and a potential to move. There's almost like Aries, it may be time to... Oh, wait. Wait, what you laughing for? What did I say? I don't remember. Anyway. Aries, you may need to dial your ambition back a little bit. But it's like you're dialing it back, but you're moving it forward at the same time. This is about something needs to shift and flow. Because I would say dial your ambition back, because everything you need, you have at your fingertips right now. You have all elements present. You're sitting in the energy of this magician. but it's like you still need to move at the same time. So let's break this down. I'm also getting there's a Gemini feeling here too because of the balance here. So there's a Temperance energy here. Aries, you got a lot of energy. Magician, Gemini, and Temperance. Now, North Node is Gemini, South Node is Temperance right now. Aries is Mars. Mars is in Pisces right now. So, I mean, it's squaring Gemini and Temperance. Mars is until it goes. Actually, Mars is like 24 degrees Pisces. By the end of the month, it's going to be in Aries. But before it goes into Aries, oh, yeah. I mean, that was intentional, Mimi. A little bit, not a lot of it, just a little bit, enough for you to see, things accurately and clearly. Cancer. So before Mars goes into Aries, it's going to be exactly squaring the nodes. So that's why you need to pull your ambition back a little bit, because it's almost like when Mars squares the nodes, and I don't think there's going to be anything in Virgo to oppose that. Max! Oof, a Sag and a Leo. Goodness. A Sag and a Libra. Why did I say Leo? Sag and a Libra. Because it's like when Mars, and it's like 29 degrees, by the way. I'm pretty sure the nodes are still like 29 degrees, so less than a degree from the cusp, right? But it's like in that moment, Aries, it feels like you're coming upon a fork in the road. And there's an opportunity, if you make the decision, there's an opportunity for things to really pick up in your favor. And if you because it's like, Mars is going to be in Aries for a long time, pretty much all year, I think, because it's going to retrograde in Aries. So you're going to have your home planet retrograding in your sign. So whatever decision you're going to be making here, it feels like you're coming upon a really, really important decision. The Gemini energy is the Lovers. I was going to say the Lovers, but I was like, no, it felt more like Gemini than the Lovers. But it's more Gemini in the choice, and it's Gemini in duality, and it's Gemini on two sides of the same coin, but it's one coin. It's not necessarily the Lovers as in love, although the Four of Wands is here, and the Three of Swords is here. The Three of Pentacles is here, and the Four of Cups is here. Oof. Oof. Yeah, y'all, Aries, I feel like y'all are sitting at a crossroads, and y'all little cardinal ends don't know what to do. Everything that came out in this round is cardinal, I believe, by the way. Because Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, and that's it. Yeah, they're all cardinal. Libra wasn't here, so, you might be missing a Libra, Aries. Maybe that's what this Three of Swords is. Maybe a Libra broke your heart. Actually, the Three of Swords is Libra energy, so let me stop. Wait, all of the cardinal energies are here. Libra and the Three of Swords, Capricorn and the Three of Pentacles, Cancer and the Four of Cups, and you, Aries, and the Four of Wands. Oh, Aries, there's a lot. So Mars is going to be squaring the nodes, which is all about a path. And then it's going to be going into Aries, which is all about proceeding on that path. But then it's going to be retrograding. So you may make a decision, make some forward movement, have to go back and clean things up a little bit, and then move it back forward. Now, the little bit of cleanup that you're going to be doing isn't bad. I wouldn't say worry about that, because the wind at your back is this Three of Swords, but your oncoming challenge is the Three of Pentacles. So you're stuck, or not stuck, but you're at this Three of Swords, Three of Pentacles sort of place. And so as you come out of this Three of Swords, you're going to be making some movement, and you may come across somebody that you're going to want to build with, but it may require for you to undo a little bit of the things that you've just done to do it properly. This person, this may be a job, this may be business, they may have some insight or knowledge or expertise that can really benefit you. And so your challenge may be to actually listen to somebody else. If you're the type of Aries so you're always right, then that may be one thing that sort of serves as a little hiccup for you. But if you can listen, it's like continue on the path that you're on, but you may come across some kind of resource that can strengthen what you've done. And so when you go back, it's kind of sort of like do it loosely, but also do it to the best of your ability. Now, like, don't be sloppy, but I don't, there's just so many like caveats to this, because I just feel like it's like you're sitting on the top of a peak. And when you're on the top of the world, when you're on the top of the mountain, when you're at the North Pole or the South Pole, every direction is down from there. When you're at the North Pole, every direction is south. When you're at the South Pole, every direction is north, right? When you're on the top of the mountain, when you're at the peak, any way you go is going to be taking you down the mountain. You're going to be descending. And so that's why there's like this Gemini type of energy here. It's going to be important for you to see things from both sides as you move forward. Maybe you've been burned in the past, and that's why this Three of Pentacles is a challenge. I feel like a few people may have been burned in the past. If you're a cardinal sign, maybe you've been burned in the past like 18 months to now. But if you're a cardinal sign, all of that Capricorn conjunction has been affecting you. Either it's been conjuncting you, it's been conjuncting you if you're Capricorn, opposing you if you're Cancer, or squaring you if you're Aries or Libra. And so with conjunction can play out any kind of way. So Capricorn, that could have been anything. An opposition, it may play out as an opposition, but with an opposition being kind of black or white, it's like, if it's not this, it is that. So it's not, like, it may have hurt a little bit. It may have been difficult, but I feel like your way out would have been, like, if it's not the left door, if it's not door number 1, it's door number 2, right? But with the square, that can be anything in between. So that's like a lesson. That's something that you have to learn. So maybe you learned to, okay, yeah, I get it. Maybe you learn to establish healthy emotional boundaries, but at the same time you're learning to establish healthy emotional boundaries, you're learning what a valuable partner would look like in any endeavor. And so it's not for you to be so caught up in this Three of Swords that you miss out on a Three of Pentacles opportunity to better something in the future. Now, the sky above you is this Four of Cups. And so it may have been the case, Aries, that while you weren't really doing anything, and the ground below you is the Four of Wands. So that's this Gemini energy that you're kind of sitting in. That's this dichotomy on both sides. It's like, with healthy boundaries, be careful who you work with, but also you don't want to cut out the people who actually benefit you. And with the sky above you, this is like, it's kind of sort of dark. So maybe you're out at night, Aries, because you got the Four of Cups here, which is all about sort of being emotionally unfulfilled, right? The Four of Cups comes after the Three of Cups, and the Three of Cups is the celebration, is this community, is this sort of coming together. The Four of Cups is the moment of dissatisfaction before the Five of Cups, like, it's just full blown not it. So again, establish healthy boundaries, and you've probably had this lesson here. And that's why it's sort of the sky above you, and the ground beneath your feet is this Four of Wands. So it's like there's a celebration here, but then it's not all it's cracked up to be here. And so you're just sitting in the middle of all of it. So Aries, this is the time to take stock of where you have been, where you want to go. It's a time to learn how to set healthy emotional boundaries, but it's also a time to not allow the past to hold you back from the future either. Like Aries, this is a lot, and it's kind of sort of a lot of confusion. And, you know, I don't know. Because you were squaring everything happening in Capricorn. And now you're going to be squaring the nodes before you can like get into the home stretch. And you're going to be working from home for a minute, right? Maybe not necessarily literally, more figuratively working from home for a minute, because Mars is going to be in its home sign. But Mars is also going to retrograde in the home sign. So, you know, I don't want to say like, just dot your I's and cross your T's. It's almost like treat Mars like it's retrograde right now, because it's sitting at such an important sort of intersection in Pisces, which is all about the dream you hold of the future. And either it's going to be a dream of the future or it's going to be a nightmare. But Mars in Pisces is the Ten of Cups. So just like Capricorn can square any mountain, with Aries being the Emperor, once you come into that Empyrean decision making, it's like make a decision that is final, but also trustworthy advisor. Seek wise counsel, but also make a decision. Okay. Like Aries, like that there's just, you're just like I said, after squaring and then like keep in mind that, you know, we're still having these Capricorn squares right now. Pluto and Jupiter are conjuncting in Capricorn. Saturn is about to go back into Capricorn. So all of that Capricorn is still squaring you. It hasn't stopped really. You got a little bit of a break when Saturn went into Aquarius, but then everything went retrograde. And then at the same time, the nodes shifted. So now the nodes are squaring you. But you're becoming you're becoming a pearl. You're becoming a diamond. And it's going to be, eventually the clam will open its mouth. Eventually you will be unearthed and you'll be polished and cut and shined. So best of luck to you, Aries. I know there's a lot of stuff going on. Goodness. I do not envy you, but again, with that magician energy, you sort of have it. You're capable of a lot right now. Excuse me. But with that temperance energy that I was feeling, it's going to be about learning how to sort of really balance it and use it in equal. Learning to balance it and use it in a way that will serve you. So, round 3, we're starting with the Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands, I've been feeling as divine. Eight of Wands into the Ace of Wands. Woof. Woof. Into the Ace of Swords. Okay. Man, so whoever come out here, things about to be moving quick. There is a little bit of divine insight, divine intervention, divine understanding. Will of the year, first major out, Jupiter. And then we have the Ten of Pentacles and the Six of Swords and the Nine of, this is beautiful. Starting with the Eight of Wands, ending with the Nine of Cups, with the Six of Swords, the Ten of Pentacles, and the Wheel of Fortune in here. 2 aces in here, but you got to stay grounded with that Seven of Wands. Like, don't be that balloon that floats out into the sun. Sagittarius is going to be the first one out. Jupiter and Sagittarius. Temperance. Ooh, Sagittarius. Goodness. Okay, well, South Node is in your sign right now. And then Venus comes out with that Empress. Ooh, but the Ace of Cups is right there. Scorpio. Sagittarius and Scorpio. What's another S sign? Is there another S sign? Sagittarius, Scorpio? I don't think so. And we already got Capricorn, so maybe Libra will come out now. We'll get, you know, those sort of energies. Maybe not. You know, we'll see. Okay, I feel like I'm getting off. There we go. Oh, and then there's Libra. Hey! So Libra missed the cardinal party. And then there's Taurus. So Venus is sitting together. Look at this. Venus, Venus, Venus. And then we're ending with the Ten of Wands. So, man, this started so beautiful. It started so beautifully. Do I have 8 cards? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is an 8 round. We just had a few 7 rounds. So they're not consistent. And then the 5 of Cups is what's going to be chilling right here. So this is interesting. So Libra missed the cardinal round, but Libra did come out with, you know, first of all, Libra came out with the other side, Taurus, but also Libra came out with Scorpio and Sagittarius. And Scorpio came out, or Sagittarius came out first. Sagittarius, Scorpio, and then Libra. So that's retrograde, right? Because direct will be Libra and then Scorpio and then Sagittarius. So there's an energy of we're revisiting something. It started so beautifully down here, but by the time we go all the way back, it's the Ten of Wands. So this you may be having this is an interesting retrograde season, this pile. Sagittarius chart ruler. My chart ruler is Venus. Surprisingly. Sagittarius, comma, Scorpio, comma, Libra, comma, Taurus. I did not say Taurus. I said Taurus. Hello? Taurus, not Taurus. There was this one dude, Alex Torres. He was cool. I'm going to say these start at 137.10. And we're going to be starting with Sagittarius. So, Sagittarius, girl, we might need to talk. Lots of masculine energy, for sure. All wands and swords. You got the 9 of swords and the 10 of swords. The 1 of wands, the ace of wands, and the 3 of wands. The interesting thing, though, is we're balancing fire and air. So that's interesting. But there's a lot more air than there is fire. So immediately, right off the bat, Sagittarius, you're thinking more than you're doing. And you should be doing more than you're thinking at this point. It's not to think, it's not to act before you think, or it's to not think at all. But with North Node being in Gemini, it's a time of action and not just, you know, philosophy. And you got the 9 of swords and the 10 of swords. So this thinking isn't going to get you very far right now. And with the doing, you have the ace and the 3. So this is inspired action that leads to getting you where you need to be to get what you want. Ooh, autumn eyes. So the challenge, or the wind at your back, is the 3 of wands. So this is very similar to, what was this? Who was the first one out? Was it Capricorn? No, Aquarius. It's very similar to Aquarius because they had the Knight of Wands. You had the 3 of Wands. Sagittarius and Aquarius sextile. Sagittarius and Gemini oppose. And you got like 9 and 10 are in the decans of Gemini. Second decan Gemini, third decan Gemini. And then you got Aries energy in the 3, and then just fire in general. So you have the trine and the desire. So your desires are pushing you and propelling you forward, but you're encountering opposition in the realm of your thoughts. You're like thinking yourself in circles. It's like you're circling a drain. And there's not enough The balance here is, okay, so there's a little bit of balance here. There's a little bit of balance here. You have the Ten of Swords and the Ace of Wands. Both of these are ones. You have the Three of Wands and the Nine of Swords. And 9 is divisible by 3. And so in some ways, you're sitting at the space of the 6 this way. And 6 is a number of harmony. But in other ways, you're sitting at the space of a 0 this way when you go from 1 to 10. Or 9. But I'm feeling it more as the 0. And so the Ace of Wands being at your feet, the Ten of Swords being the sky above you, this feels kind of hopeless. Not hopeless. It feels like you feel stuck. And so it's like you're trapped in a word problem. You're trapped in a riddle. You're in the realm of the Sphinx, but the Sphinx is the emperor. But I don't know if you are holding the scepter or if someone else is in your life. Who is sitting at the helm of your life, Sagittarius? That's the question here. Because it looks like you feel like you're trapped. Because it's like the wind at your back is the Three of Wands, which is about manifesting, which is about you getting the ticket and being in place to board. The ground at your feet, what you're standing on, is very fertile. And very fertile with this, this wand here. But the sky above you and your oncoming challenge is like you're stuck. It feels like you feel like you're being pushed up against the brick wall. Like the wind it's like picking you up, but it keeps blowing you against the wall. So you just keep like hitting wall after wall. And so it feels like you're trying to think yourself around a brick wall when it may just be time to call up your buddy who has a bulldozer and take it down. Because it's almost like no matter how much you think with this Nine of Swords, this is your oncoming challenge. So your oncoming challenge is to get out of your head and to actually make something happen. And maybe this was the past for you. Maybe it's the present. Maybe it's the future. But with the Ten of Swords being the space of the sky, okay, you're not thinking the right way. You're not taking the right approach. You're not applying your abilities where they would best serve you. Because temperance is all about alchemy. But this is mental. So this is all about mental alchemy. And so there's this question that it brings it to mind. And so I'm gonna go through the full thing. You are trapped in a room with no doors, no mirrors. Sorry. You're trapped in a room with no doors and no windows. The only two things in the room are a mirror and a saw. How do you get out? I'm going to start this over one more time. Sagittarius. You're trapped in a room with no doors and no windows. The only two things in the room are a mirror and a saw, and of course you, because you're in the room. How do you escape? I'll give you a few seconds to think. The only two things in this room are a mirror, M-I-R-R-O-R, and a table, a T-A-B-L-E, right? A table and a mirror. That's all you got. How do you get out of this room with no doors and no windows? The answer is it's extremely convoluted, very Sagittarian in that way, isn't it? You look in the mirror, you see what you saw, you take the saw the table into two halves, put the halves together to make the table whole, and then you crawl through the hole. And that's how you get out of the room. You see the level of like mind games and flip floppery and just total BSery and effery that was going on? The mirror. Ooh. And so that's that. It's time to be a little bit more Gemini, Sagittarius. It's time to be a lot of it more Gemini. South Node is in Sagittarius. North Node is in Gemini. And Gemini is more of a trial and error energy than a sit back and hypothesize energy. Goodbye. Right? I know the first time I heard that, I was like, what? Look in the mirror, see what you saw, take the saw the table in halves, put the halves together to make a hole, and then you just crawl through the hole and you're out. Boom. I'm like, what? But in that way, if ever you have a mirror and something that a saw can cut, you can make an escape. Right? Because you can always look into a mirror and see what you saw. And there's always a mirror because, you know, your eyeballs, right? It's like you and then the world. So there's always a mirror between you and the world because it's between you and yourself. And there's always a table because we're in the 3D. So there's always something rooted somewhere. You just have to look at it, reflect on it, dissect it, and then put it back together in a way that gives you your escape, right? And so both Gemini and Sagittarius, like Mercury and Jupiter, they both deal with realms of the mind. But it's all about reflection, introspection, perspective, dissection, recollection, and it's like a little orb circle puzzle thing that you like pull it apart, you shift it, and then you bring it back together. Because continuing to think of things in the way that you used to think of them won't give you the escape that you want. Because this is something brand new. The Ace of Wands and the Three of Wands, this is something brand new. It's going to require you to do something that you've never done before. And it's going to require you to think in a way that you've never thought. Now, this is a yang. So you have yang feminine and yang masculine here. Yang feminine is fresh. Yang masculine is stale, and it's not going to get you anywhere. Sagittarius. But I feel like you may already know what to do. Because if you didn't know what to do, I don't think this Three of Wands would be here. So maybe it's about pivoting more than turning around. But with the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Swords, it's like, I feel like you're trying to think your way out of, it's like you don't like the solution being presented to you. So you're trying to think up another solution or trying to see another way out. But the only way to do that would require severe alchemy. And I don't know if you have the time to do that alchemy right now. That's why the South Node is in Sagittarius. Because it's like time is of the essence. So we don't have time to learn something, to master something. It's all about furthering what you already have and making it work in the situation that you're in through some kind of action, more so than thought. So Sagittarius, I don't really know, because it's like you're sitting at the space of harmony in a 6, but you're also sitting at a null space with a 0, and the 0 could be the mirror. No, the 9 would be the mirror. 9 is a mirror because whatever you put into a 9, it'll reflect back at you. And so if the 9 is the mirror, and we flip this around the 9, then the 9 of Swords would be a challenge that you are facing, but in some quantum way you've already overcome. Oh, we're getting mirrors, we're getting quantum, we're getting quantum. Okay, let's do it, Sagittarius. Why not? This y'all energy, y'all like to be Jupiter and expansive. I'm a Pisces. I'm down. I'm down. I'm going to try to leave the Neptune out of it, but just be open-minded, okay? Because Neptune is in Pisces right now, squaring the nodes. So we all mutable in this place, in this piece. Only mutable not at the party right now is Virgo, and no offense to Virgo, but you know, Virgo is we already saw Virgo is off doing their own thing right now, and Virgo needed to be thinking about Virgo right now, because that's the only way Virgo is going to get to where Virgo wants to be, is if Virgo is focused on Virgo. But us, the rest of us, let's chit chat. We can talk. We're all mutable, right? Virgo is too practical anyway. If it don't make sense, Virgo ain't about it. Virgo is too skeptical for this conversation. So sorry, Virgo, but feel free to ear hustle, because we know y'all do that. Let me stop. So we're going to be flipping this, and this is quantum. So the challenge, your oncoming challenge, is also the wind at your back, because on a quantum level, you've already solved it. You're stuck in the room, but you're also outside of the room already. And so when this is the wind at your back for having conquered it, then the 3 of Wands becomes your challenge. And that would be sitting where the Empress is, interestingly enough. If I flip this, right, it will go here, where the Empress is. So it's all about creating something. You're creating a way out. But it's almost like you're going to be reaching into the future to create this way out. And then the Ace of Wands would be sort of like, no, it would be here. The Ace of Wands would be in the space of this Page of Pentacles, and the 10 of Swords would be in the space of the 7 of Wands. But anyway, the Ace of Wands would be the star in the sky, and the 10 of Swords would be the swamp that you're trudging out of. There is a piece of you, Sagittarius, that it would benefit you immensely to get in touch with. And that piece of you holds all of the alchemical knowledge to alchemize these swords into cups. But to alchemize these swords into cups, this is high Piscean territory. So Sagittarius, you already had that Jupiter connection to Pisces. What you're lacking is that Neptunian imagination. And if you Neptune, if you're a novice and you try to mess with Neptune, you end up in illusion. Even like Pisces, we can even end up in illusion when we don't. But like we cast illusion on ourselves a lot of times, and that's the shadow of Pisces. That's how we get stuck in the house of undoing, right? And sometimes we purposefully use Neptune against ourselves. It's all self-sabotage. We can kind of sort of do it better than other people, just because we can do it so efficiently and proficiently that, we'll never see it. Because it's Neptune, right? And other signs can self-sabotage too, But Pisces, we can do it. We can do it good. But anyway, it's about alchemizing these swords into cups. Then you would have the 9 of Cups as your oncoming challenge, and the 10 of Cups as the sky above you, what you're reaching for. because you're reaching for some kind of completion here. You're reaching for some kind of transformation. But with this Nine of Swords being your oncoming challenge, like the way you've gone about it, you won't get here. But if you use this angel temperance energy to alchemize, look, instead of looking in the mirror and seeing what you saw, you are alchemizing the border of the mirror. It's like you're etching some kind of something into the frame of the mirror, and it's almost like it's runic, it's ancient, it's so old. But when it's complete, it's like the frame of the mirror becomes a mandorla. That's a word I learned recently. Becomes a mandorla that frames this portal, and the portal turns the glass into a pool of water that you can step through. And when you step through the glass, so instead of like forget sawing the table, forget the table. If all you have is a mirror, you change the properties of this mirror into a portal, and you just step through the portal. And this portal is going to be taking you from the realm of swords to the realm of water. You're going from thoughts to emotion. Now, if you're blocked off emotionally, this is going to be difficult. Because then this would be like you would go from yang feminine and yang masculine to yang feminine and yin feminine. And if you can't just be in that feminine world, then like you won't be able to open that portal. Oh my gosh, we're opening portals now? What is this? But on the other hand, if you alchemize these wands into earth, it would be a brick wall. And so you would be hitting another wall. So Sagittarius, it looks like the only way out is through the heart. Or to just start doing something. Sagittarius, I don't know. Just like Aries, I'm like, I don't know what's up with the fire energy right now. I don't know. I ain't seen Leo yet, but man. Yeah, fire signs, y'all are just, oof, I don't know. Because either you're sextiling the North Node or you're opposing it. And then you would be trining the South Node or conjuncting it. So it's really, really, really easy for a fire sign right now to fall into the trap of whatever the South Node is. And on the better end of the scale, there's an opportunity to come out, but it's much more easy to just like slide to the pole. So whatever seems like it's easiest for you, Sagittarius, right now, now is a time to challenge yourself. With the Ace of Wands and the Three of Wands, it's a time to challenge yourself. And the wind at your back is pushing you to get to whatever space this is, to be ready to board when your boat or train comes. Because all of that mirror stuff, and again, I feel like that would require high levels of emotional alchemy. Because you'd be going from swords to cups. And so it's not about what's logical and what makes sense. It would be about, it's like what makes spiritual sense, what makes emotional sense, and not what makes logical or analytical sense here. Lord be with you, Spirit be with you, angels be with you, your guides be with you, Sagittarius. Because like I don't know, I don't know what to tell you, Sagittarius. Just like I didn't know what to tell Scorpio when I did that Zodiacs for now ish or whatever reading. Sagittarius, I don't know. The way that you alchemize things in the past is not going to get you where you want to be. And if the past 18 months has taught Sagittarius anything, it's probably been the way that you used to do things is not going to work for now. Because it's almost like, I don't want to say Sagittarius had it easy, but it's almost like you used to be really good at making sense out of things, but you learned an old system. It's like you got really proficient at an old system, but we're updating the system. And some of the functionality, some of the terms, some of the places where the buttons are different. And it's almost like you're trying to navigate it from muscle memory, but we've shifted the buttons around. And so if you're just going off of muscle memory, you're going to be clicking in empty spaces, or you're going to be clicking in spaces where it's not where it's not where, whatever it is, it's not where it used to be, Sagittarius. Whatever it is, it's not where it used to be. And you've gotten really comfortable with it being where it used to be, but it's moved. And so you're also going to have to move. With this Three of Wands, you're also going to have to move. Like you've already started, you've already surpassed the 2, which is the beginning of the journey, but at the 3, it's about taking it a step further. So you need to take things a step further, and your mind and the way you used to do things. That's why this 10 of Swords is the sky, because it may be a little daunting, but once you come through this transformation, it's going to be leading. The 10 of Swords, this is also an ego deck. And we saw the 10 of Swords yesterday. The owl is also here, the owl in the tree. So that's given me palace energy. So maybe look and see where your natal palace is. Maybe your natal palace will give you some kind of insight on where you can apply a little bit of strategy to navigate out of the situation. I know Pallas right now is retrograde in Capricorn, sitting right next to Jupiter and Pluto. So, you know, with the South Node in Sagittarius, it's like, I don't know. Sagittarius, I feel like I'm spending a minute on y'all, but I kind of sort of feel like y'all need it. But at the same time, I don't necessarily feel like there's too much I can say to help. Because it's less about thoughts, it's less about words, it's more about action right now. That's your gift. Your gift right now is action. That's gonna, because this is your challenge. Your thoughts, that's your challenge. Your thoughts, that's your ceiling. It's your challenge, and it's the sky above you, it's the ceiling. So I guess you could also alchemize, and this would involve a little less alchemy, to go from the 10 of Swords to the Ace of Wands, because they're already sitting in a similar space, right? The 10 and the 1, they're both sitting at a 1. But you would have to leave behind whatever these 9 swords are here and take this 1 sword and change it into the Ace. And turning the sword, the Ace, the remaining Ace of Swords into the Ace of Wands. But with the Ace of Wands, you would still have to do something, right? You still got to move. So that's that, Sagittarius. That probably wasn't helpful, but I don't know. I don't know. Yours is in Sagittarius. Oh, well, is it conjunct in the South Node? Because that might not be helpful. But with this 10 of Swords, it's also like, if everything you've tried isn't working, then try something that you've never tried before, right? Because if the North Node is in Gemini right now, if you are a certain twin, if you are the head side of the coin, then it's time to do the tail side. Instead of being heads, it's time to be tails. And that's how an opposition can be easier to figure out than a square. Because with the square, it's like, you know, that could go one of several directions. But with an opposition, it's like, if it's not door number 1, it's door number 2. So Sagittarius, it's time to start choosing door number 2. Right? That trick up your sleeve that used to work ain't gonna work anymore. Maybe you used it too much and somebody wisened up. Oh, it's in Capricorn. Your palace is in Capricorn? So it's going to be like conjuncting all the other mess going down in Capricorn right now? Is that any better? 20 degrees Capricorn. So it's going to be in loose conjunction to, I guess it's not loose conjunction, but Pluto is 24 degrees Capricorn right now, and it's retrograding back. Jupiter is 25 degrees Capricorn right now, and it's retrograding back. So, and Pallas is in Capricorn retrograding right now too. So, hey, you'll have a Pallas return retrograde maybe. So, oof. Yeah, so I don't know. So yeah, Sagittarius, good luck. But maybe that's why this owl is watching you. Like that owl is up there watching. So you are being watched right now from the shadows. You're being observed, Sagittarius. Anyway, let's move on over to Scorpio. Scorpio. And here's that Leo energy. So, Scorpio, this is looking kind of beautiful for you-ish, maybe. Maybe, I don't know. Scorpio, this is going to be a transformation of the ego for you. You're going to be transforming your ego a little bit. So the winds at your back is this Ace of Cups. So in the past 18 months, Scorpio, maybe you done met somebody, maybe you done seen to somebody, maybe you've grown closer. You've experienced, in the past 18 months, you've experienced connection to another level. This could be connection to yourself. This could be connection with spirit. This could be, I don't necessarily feel this as humanly connection. You did say that. I don't know if that's necessarily helpful though. Because it's like if you're writing an equation like 10 plus 10 equals 10 plus 10, and you're like, okay, so it's already the same on both sides, right? Instead of 10 plus 10 equals 20, instead of 5 times 2 plus 5 times 2 equals 10 plus 10, right? Like it is what it is. And then it's like, okay, well, so like, what does it mean? But Scorpio, you've had the opportunity to experience connection. And then like this is water sign. This is a cup, a huge cup. So honestly, Scorpio, you may have gotten the opportunity within the past 18 months since November 2018 to ascend out of the depths that you kind of sort of get comfortable in and stuck in. And that's the wind at your back. That's the winds of change. It's moving you forward. It's propelling you forward. You're probably wanting more in a way that you might not have been able to comprehend and understand in the past, because there's been some kind of emotional, spiritual revolution. Your oncoming challenge is this Leo energy, which is the King of Wands. So your upcoming challenge is going to be to shine. It's like it's not necessarily enough for you to rise up out of the depths a little bit, Scorpio. You may have to full-blown get out of the water. You may have to go onto the land, Scorpio, and actually be seen. And I'm hearing like vampires hissing because of sunlight or something. Ooh, Scorpio, when's the last time you left the house? Scorpio, it may be time to go outside. Going outside might be your challenge. But it's like, it's like emotionally going outside. It's making yourself vulnerable. But not only is it making yourself vulnerable, it's finding power in that vulnerability. The ground beneath your feet is the Six of Swords. So yeah, you've definitely made some movement over the past 18 months. And I feel like it's validating and clarifying this. Scorpio, interestingly enough, you have every element at your disposal. You have a singular cup, a singular wand, a singular earth energy in the Hierophant, but 6 swords. So still overthinking things a little bit, but still sitting in a pretty decent position. Everything you need, Scorpio, you have at your disposal to get. It is interesting, though, that the sky above you is your natural opposite. We have death and we have the Hierophant, which is the high priest in this deck. Yeah, it's the high priest. So you have the high priest up here, which is all about masculine spirituality. Masculine spirituality is about something that is more practical, something that can be more practiced. It's more purposeful, right? Feminine spirituality is like, oh, yes, I can read your future. Oh, this is what will be happening for you, high priestess, right? Masculine spirituality is, okay, so like within the realms of like the law of attraction, manifestation, stuff like that. I feel like feminine spirituality is more of an oracle, right? That's a diviner. Masculine spirituality is a creator. So it's about forging a path ahead. And maybe that's why you have this King of Wands energy here. Because not only is it about you shining, but it's about you doing something with all of this water that you've sort of gained, right? This is prime masculine energy. With the Ace of Cups, that could be prime feminine energy. And it's also interesting because, hold up. Okay, 1 second. Earth, water, water, earth. Air, air, water, fire. So Sagittarius and Scorpio, you both came out on the second row. And the second row could be more of the present moment, right? So you have all of the elements, but you also have them in, like, you have yin feminine against yang feminine, and yin masculine against yang masculine. You also have a 5 and then a 6 here. So you're, oh, wow, okay. Scorpio, honestly, this is kind of sort of giving me a Ficus energy, low-key, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm saying that because you're going from the 5 to the 6, and you're already at the 1 here. So something. So Scorpio, you've already died. With this Ace of Cups, I feel like you've already been, like, there's a rebirth here. So in some ways you're going for the 10, but in other ways you're going for the 1. But the 0 in the 10 is the womb. Why are these getting so like, what is this? What is this? I'm like, what is this? Because after the South Node, is it like after South Node in Sagittarius, South Node is going to be in Scorpio. So keep that in mind, Scorpio. The South Node is going to be in your sign in 18 months. 18 months or so from now, the South Node is going to be in your sign, right? And some of this stuff will be back in Aquarius. So you'll be having some squares in Aquarius. You'll have that Uranus opposition still. Uranus is in Taurus opposing you. Mars is going to be going into Taurus at some point within the next 18 months. Right? Because it's going to be retrograding in Aries. So it's going to be in Aries for a minute. But it's going to be in Taurus, and it's going to conjunct Uranus and Taurus here pretty soon. And Mars is your traditional ruler. Pluto is in Capricorn. So you have that Pluto. You have one ruler that's going to be opposing you. One ruler who is trining you right now, because Mars is in Pisces. So it's going to be trining you in Pisces. Your other ruler is sextiling you right now in Capricorn. And something about the stars lining up for you. I mean, Pluto is masterminding all of this transformation and change right now. And Pluto is your modern ruler. So Scorpio, it's time to get with the times in some way. With the Six of Swords, something in the past, leave it in the past. Old earth is behind you. And it's about building new foundations. But you're building new foundations from this place of power with the heart in mind. Heart overflowing, right? So in everything you do, and maybe, Scorpio, you've had a change of heart in the past 18 months. Because death is facing the Ace of Cups. It's already there and beat it. What happens within before without? I didn't know that. But I guess that makes sense. Maybe that's why there's this like change of heart. But it could have also been situations within the past 18 months are leading you to have a change of heart now at the same time. Because that's what death is looking at. But you may just be focused on the past. If you keep your focus on the past, see, the thing about transformation is, and the boat is heading in the same direction. So, interesting. That was a weak tongue club. Oh, Scorpio. Sagittarius and Scorpio. Why do I gotta be so esoteric? I feel like everything else was like easier. Capricorn and Virgo, or Aquarius and Virgo was like easy. Capricorn and Cancer was like, okay. Aries was like, oof, what? Oh goodness. All right. Well, Scorpio, let me just take a breath. Let me take a breath. Let us take a breath. If you're a Scorpio and you're watching this, just breathe with me, okay? If you're a Scorpio and you're watching with me, you may want to do the Lamaze. I'm not going to do the Lamaze, but you might want to do the Lamaze because the Empress is right here. So the Empress and then the Ace of Cups, maybe her water broke? Because I did say the Lamaze. But the kid is here. The child is here. Then comes the pregnancy. And then is the water breaking. So this is still out of order. But I did say that like there's this retrograde thing because we're going from Sagittarius to Scorpio to Libra. So everything is moving backwards right now. And maybe that's why this is so like esoteric feeling. Everything is moving backwards. So if you are a Scorpio, all of that Capricorn stuff would be happening in your third house. And that's the Gemini house. The house of your local community, also rules siblings, and local environment, primary education, stuff like that. And to have Capricorn there is to build, right? Capricorn is cardinal earth. It's a building energy. It's also linked to reputation. And so there's also a rebranding energy here, Scorpio. Rebirth and rebrand transformation. Okay, so Scorpio, as you are being rebirthed, it's going to be important for you to carry yourself in a way that reflects that, right? And I feel like it's going to be important for you to, with this Leo energy, it's not necessarily to go ego to the extreme, but it's to be proud of what you've done and to be proud of who you are and proud of who you're becoming. But it's not to be so proud that you continue or that you stop moving and growing. Because you've made a lot of movement with that Six of Swords being the ground, but there's still quite a bit of a ways to go with the Hierophant in the sky. Also, the two keys are here. The cup is silver. I would say that the King of Wands has an energy of gold around it. So you already have the silver key. Yeah, because water, the moon. Perfect. And then we have the sun here with Leo energy. Perfect. Okay, so you already have the silver key. You already have the key of spirit. And so you are navigating the calmer waters with the spiritual awareness and with the spiritual understanding. However, you still need to get the key of gold. And the key of gold is the sun. So that's things that are seen. That's a light. So it's time for you to shine. It's time for you to be seen. And it's time for you to... This is so interesting because this is like, it's retrograde. So we're seeing the moon before we get to the sun. So you're sitting with the knowledge of the moon, but you need to know the sun. But you can get an idea of what the sun is through moonlight, but you can't... The moon is not the sun. And the sun is much brighter than the moon. So, Scorpio, you may have also been navigating towards something that you thought you wanted because it is sitting right next to the nine of... The Six of Swords is sitting between the Ten of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups. So, the Six of Swords, his back is to the Nine of Pentacles, going towards the Nine of Cups, going towards the Ten of Pentacles. But as you're crossing through, this void space, as you're crossing through this portal, it's almost like it's requiring more of you than you thought it would. It's time to dethrone a king. What? What does that mean? Oh my gosh! What is that? I don't... The question... So it's like, let's frame it as a movie, like V for Vendetta. I've never seen V for Vendetta, but let's go back to the guillotine days. And my teeth are starting to do that weird vibrating thing again. I don't like it. It feels weird. And I'm getting hungry again. I got some saltines. I'm about to eat some saltines, y'all. I got some saltines and some water. Communion! Oh my gosh, this is communion energy. I ain't got no grape juice or no communion crackers, but I got some saltines and I got some water. So come break bread with me, Scorpio. Let me into your energy. I'm a Pisces. You can trust me. I ain't gonna call you out. Because Scorpio, I see you. I always see you, Scorpio, but sometimes I act like I don't. Because I know y'all don't like to... Scorpio, I know y'all like to feel like y'all ain't seen. So I just pretend like I don't see y'all with everybody else. But, you know, I'll call y'all out if I got to. So... My saltine is fairly fresh. I don't know why. I've had these saltines for a minute. And the first pack I pulled out were stale or like old, but the other three weren't. And so at first I thought, man, maybe I had these too long. They're getting stale. But after I finished that pack, the next one was fresh. Right? Scorpio is also fixed water. There's lots of fixed energy on the table. But the Ace of Cups is something brand new. Okay. The way that you used to see things, Scorpio, the way that you used to shine, the way that you used to act, the way that you used to behave, everything that was you, the way that you used to express yourself, it needs to change. And I was looking at this in the wrong direction. I was looking at death going to the Ace of Cups as if the Ace of Cups was coming to be transformed, but death leaves death in its wake. So all of this fixed energy needs to be transformed as you go for this brand new cup. Okay. But again, this is retrograde. So you're already going in this direction, but now it's time to revisit it. So you already have this within the past 18 months. You already have some kind of spiritual revolution. But it's time to take it to the next step. because the first Ace of Cups you got was to break up this foundation, right? It's like the Grand Canyon. One drop wears away the stone. So all of this fixed energy needed to be busted up. So that's where you encountered this Ace of Cups the first time. Now that this fixed energy is a little looser, it's time for you to move forward. And we literally have, this is the World card, Scorpio. Scorpio, you are sitting at the cusp of a whole new world, because we have the Death for Scorpio, Six of Swords for Aquarius, King of Wands for Leo, the Hierophant for Taurus. On the World card, you see, and it already came out, so I'm going to pull it. And it came out in the last round too, I believe. Yeah, look, it's sitting right there, right there. Eight of Cups, walk away. Emperor, come into your power. And then there's a whole world. On the World card, you see the Lion for Leo, the Deer for Taurus, the Man or the Angel for, the Angel for Aquarius, and then the Eagle, the bird, for Scorpio, for you. The World Tree, Yggdrasil. Okay. Let's see what that's about. Hey Siri, what is Yggdrasil?
One option is Spring Hill Cemetery and Mausoleum on East 40th Street.
Girl!
Is that the one you want?
Did y'all hear that? No. Spring Hill 444 and it's 444. I didn't even know. See, I'll be picking up my phone at random times and I'll be catching it. I said, what is Yggdrasil? Trying to get the World Tree. Tell me why Siri bring up the address for a cemetery. I mean, I guess. So yeah, Scorpio, it's time to transform yourself for real. Like Scorpio, for real. Right? Y'all are fixed water, but you're also the energy of transformation, which is interesting. It's a conundrum. It's a paradox into and of itself. These saltines are so good. I want something salty. I'm craving salty right now. Salt is of the earth. It's a mineral. The discovery of salt also allowed more ancient civilizations to survive through the winter more easily, because with salt they could cure the meat, right? So they could keep it. They would dig a hole, put some salt down there, and then throw the meat down there. And they would dig deep enough, and this is something else. Because somebody was like, if you dig deep enough, the temperature is fairly constant at like 50-something degrees, so it's like a natural refrigerator. And so they would put it down there, naturally refrigerating, and put a little bit of salt on there to keep it, right? So, but water dilutes salt. So it's like something within you was being held and preserved for a certain reason. That's why this King of Wands that's why. The first thing to be transformed was the King of Wands. And that was giving me Leo energy somewhere. Where was that taking me? I'm talking about crackers in my mouth. I know it's rude, but I don't care. If you care, bye. Sorry, not sorry. I'm hungry and I'm going to eat, but I'm going to keep doing this. And there's saltines. We're having communion. Commune with me. Grab your saltines. Grab your water. It doesn't have to be, the brand I got. I just got this brand because that was the store we went to. Or grab you some grape juice and grab you some wine and some bread if you want. The bread is my body, the wine is my blood. Take and eat, drink, eat all of it. The waters of communion, a new covenant, a new promise, the severing of old ties, the birth of a new earth, leaving the past behind, taking what's earth with you. The moon lights the way until you enter the celestial realms. But once you're in the cosmos, you gravitate to the nearest star. And if there is no star, then you become one. Okay. I don't know what this is. This feels very cosmic. It feels very big. The galactic center is in Sagittarius, right? So at some point, the South Node is going to be crossing the galactic center. I don't know why that matters, but I don't know. Maybe you're a starseed, right? If you are a starseed, then one of the things that you could be doing down here is anchoring a new light. But to anchor in this new light, you have to heal past all of the trauma. Did I ever show y'all the world card? Yeah, I did. You have to heal past all the trauma that kind of sort of happened that keeps you stuck in Earth frequency. Then you have to elevate yourself to the frequency that you're supposed to be anchoring down here. So that's what the Six of Swords is. It's also interesting because you have two cards of movement, the Six of Swords and the Death card. But you also have two cards of a person seated in power with the King of Wands and the Hierophant. And then you have this Ace of Cups. Scorpio, I'm mesmerized. I'm stuck on you. What is this about? I don't know, Scorpio. It also feels like there are people tied to you. It feels like there's a certain position that you have. People are tied to you. People depend on you or rely on you in some way. But this doesn't feel like a healthy dependency. Because it's keeping you stuck here. And you need to grow and evolve and change. That's what this cup is. However, the Horse of Death is powerful enough, if you so choose, it is powerful enough that as you embody this energy, you will be overflowing to the point where the excess water will flourish the land. So it isn't necessarily, not necessarily, Scorpio, use your own discernment and use extreme amounts of wisdom. It isn't that you have to cut all of these ties because this horse is strong enough to carry them. It's the Horse of Death. It can transform anything and everything, right? Entire galaxies can be transformed in the blink of an eye sometimes. Now, we may see it, you know, hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of light years after, but where like local to the situation, it can disappear in the blink of an eye. All of it. Right? Maybe the birth of a new black hole just sucked it right in. But you can't allow them to slow you down or to stop you either. So if you're going to keep these ties, you have to keep moving forward. If you're going to keep these ties, you have to work even harder to move forward. Right? And that's why I went on my whole tirade against the ancestors, blah, blah, blah. Sorry. No disrespect to the ancestors. Like, they know I got mad respect for them. But at the same time, they know who I am. They know who I am. And that's the role I play in my family. So, you know, I'm a Taurus. I'm hard-headed. I do what I want. But I said, when I was talking to the ancestors, I was like, you know what? Y'all want me to do this? Y'all want me to do that? Y'all want me to clean this mess? Y'all want me to right this wrong? Well, if you wouldn't have made the mistake in the first place, I wouldn't have to do this. So I'm going to do what I want to do with my life, but I will also do what I need to do with my life. And if I have to work harder to do that, then I will, because I'm going to use my sovereignty in my life. Oh, here's the Wheel of Fortune. I was also looking for this. Okay. On the Wheel of Fortune in this card, we see all the elements present. And you have all the elements present, right? Water, earth, fire, air. Wheel of Fortune and the World card. So you're sitting on some pretty serious energy, Scorpio. But depending on the path you take, you might have to work harder to see everything that you want come to be. And I chose a harder path because I'm not going to leave the things that I want. See, the trick is, the illusion is choice. I didn't have a choice. I was always on the high. I was always on the higher path. I was always on the harder path. Right? That path was, I was predestined for that path. But I still needed to reach the point where I chose it. Right? So I made the choice, but it was like a non-choice. Right? But because I made that choice, it gave me the strength to pull everything that I'm pulling to this Ace of Cups as I reach it, right? It's like residual healing that happens whenever you're on your journey. That's, you know, when we wake up those around us, for example. And I got Scorpio in my chart. I got Scorpio on my descendant. My Pluto is in Scorpio, retrograde. I have some Pluto though. And I have a grand water trine in my chart. So my Pluto trines my Mercury and my IC. IC is the fourth house cusp. And all this stuff is happening in Cancer right now. So I got this fourth house, seventh house, 12th house trine thing going on right now, which is kind of a beautiful little portal for this eclipse to come through in. But this eclipse will actually be happening in my third house. So there's that, right? Anyway, so yeah, Scorpio, that's what I got. It took me a minute to get there. You are going through lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of major transformation, and you will continue to transform. Like I said, like you're not there yet, but you need to come onto the land. It's time to come onto the land because there's already water in the water. So bringing water to the water does nothing for the environment. It's when you bring the water onto the land that the earth can then flourish. And with you sitting at the core, at the heart of the new world, at the heart of the world, and at the center of the Wheel of Fortune, it's all on you. This was a lot of Scorpio. I don't mind giving time to Scorpio. I know sometimes y'all be feeling left out and neglected, and y'all be feeling invisible and unseen because kind of sort of like Cancer, but not really like Cancer. Y'all don't really let people get close to you, Scorpio. And then you want to cry about nobody getting there. Oh. From one water sign to another, it's all love. I've been there, Scorpio. I've been there. So next, we have Libra. Libra. Ooh, Libra. Y'all's like real good. I did the Libra retrograde season reading, and that one was really good too. I was like, well, I'm a Libra today. I got Libra intercepted in my 6th house. But hey, my Jupiter is there. Shoot, I'm a Libra today. Y'all got the Knight of Cups, the Hierophant, the Ace of Cups, and the 10 of Pentacles. Girl. So it's time for you to be expressive with your emotion, Libra. With this Knight of Cups. And it's time for you to move forward in a way that is like emotionally authentic. Because I kind of sort of feel like with Libra being ruled by Venus, I don't think Venus necessarily too much tells anybody how much she actually wants something. I feel like Venus kind of sort of plays it cool. Like, I'm going to have it. Like, I'm motherfucking Venus. It's already mine. But for something that isn't hers, I don't think she necessarily too much says how much she wants it. But it may be time for you to express how much you actually want something Libra. Or time for you to go, okay, yeah. It's more so it's time for you to go after what you want. This is also interesting. Justice is sitting. The Hierophant is sitting. This cup ain't going nowhere. This cup is way too big to move. And then we got this 10 of Pentacles up here, chilling with the dog, chilling. That dog, oh, that dog probably don't even fetch no more. You throw the stick and you say fetch, and that dog look at you like, you see me chilling here, and you know I don't want to play. Hello? Go play with that new puppy you just got, and let me chill. Let me stop. But anyway, it's time for you to move. But at the same time you're moving, it's like, don't leave the throne. Libra, it's time for you to be like a mobile fortressy type energy. Right? It's time for you to put wheels on this bad boy. Put some wheels on it, slap a little control stick on it, so you know you can move. Then you don't have to leave your throne. But this is sort of the wind at your back. However, this horse is not facing justice. So, Libra, you may be getting a surprise visitor here sometime soon, especially with Mercury being retrograde in Cancer on top of everything else being retrograde right now, including your home planet, your ruler of Venus, until like July something, I think. I can't remember when it goes direct. I think it's early July. Somebody may be coming back. And if someone coming back gets you off of your throne, because like this horse is moving away from justice, it's moving away from the Hierophant, it's facing the opposite direction of everything in this 10 of Cups, or in this 10 of Pentacles, everything is facing kind of sort of this way, looking forward. This is leaving everything behind. So Libra, you may be tempted to backtrack a little bit. Don't do that. Don't do that, Libra. Don't do it. You're sitting at a lot of water and a lot of earth. You got water and earth. So you got yin feminine and yin masculine energy. So unlike Sagittarius that had yang feminine and yang masculine. And it's also interesting because justice and temperance can kind of sort of play the same energy sometimes. But temperance is all about the masculine energy right now. Justice is all about the feminine energy. We got Taurus, which is your sibling, your brother or sister, other side of Venus, is your oncoming challenge. So your oncoming challenge is tapping into your feminine side, which is interesting. Because I feel like Libra, maybe in the past 18 months or so, maybe you've been coming more into your feminine side in the past 18 months. But yours is an energy that feels a lot more like impartial, ambivalent, right? Because you got to see both sides, but this is all about sort of like Virgo in some ways. It's time for you to care about you and not necessarily worry about, because the time to be a martyr is not now. And so maybe this is actually you moving into the future. Kind of sort of like Scorpio, leaving behind all this sort of fixed, seated energy. Because you got what? Cardinal, mutable, fixed, mutable. But around you will be mutable, fixed, mutable. So yeah, maybe in the past, Libra, because this is your upcoming challenge. Maybe Libra, you're going to be breaking off something that you've been in for a long time to actually pursue something you want. This can go either one of two ways. Okay, so either Libra, you are breaking off from something some old commitment that no longer served you, You're picking up your little cup. This would be the ground you're standing on. You're picking up your Ace of Cups. Do you know your self-worth? The star you're going for is this Ten of Pentacles, and you're setting out with this Knight of Cups. And your oncoming challenge would be getting out of this, whatever this commitment is. Or you're in a commitment right now. In this retrograde season, something is going to come. Yes? Hold up, y'all. One moment. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. That was my mama. She about to go live. Ooh, hopefully it don't pick me up. Oh well. She wants to use one of my devices. Where was I? Libra. Or something gonna come in, tempting you away from something, and you need to stick to what it is. Because the Hierophant is the oncoming challenge. So the area of commitment, the High Priest, the area of spirituality, maybe a Taurus. Maybe just tapping into your feminine side more. Libra. You know, instead of being masculine Venus, maybe be a little bit more feminine Venus. Honestly, though, I feel like feminine Venus is a little more demanding than masculine Venus. So maybe it's time for you to demand something. This time, it may be time for you to demand what you're worth. Because again, there was this kind of sort of energy of like Libra, kind of sort of doing whatever somebody else wants to do. It can be a martyry energy. It's time to let go of that. The ground beneath your feet is this Ace of Cups. This is self-love to get that Ten of Pentacles that you're really wanting. Because when you reach this space, you don't want for there to be any like what ifs, right? The song Any Moment / Moments in the Woods from Into the Woods just popped into my head again. And there's kind of sort of this energy. Because she's like, one second. she has this moment in the woods. And she's like, do I go back to my life? Like, I can't believe that happened. Oh my gosh. Like, and she's like, get a grip, girl. Like, you got a family, you got a husband. What are you doing? But then she's like, oh, but it was so like whatever. And then she's like, you know, is it never ends? Can I not have both? She was like, well, you can't necessarily have both, but it is these and moments that makes us appreciate the ors even more, right? And so maybe Libra, you haven't committed to something because you're afraid of what you might lose because of it. But if your heart is in it, and if you want to build, I feel like you may have someone who can do that with you. So that's what I got for you, Libra. Now, Taurus, the wind at your back is justice. And your oncoming challenge is the 10 of Wands. So you go from 11 to 10. The ground beneath your feet is death. And the sky that you're reaching for is the Six of Swords. So you're wanting movement. You know that maybe your environment needs to change since you do have death sort of like at your feet. You're now in a space, I feel like, where you value yourself enough that whatever you seek will bring value to you. But to get there, it may require patience and steadfastness. With this 10 of Wands, the 10 of Wands is also a very sometimes burdensome but beautiful, significant spiritual journey. And that's also your oncoming challenge. So, again, 2 cards with movement. No. Well, kind of. 3 cards with movement. 2 cards still. And this one is walking. This one's a horse. This one's a boat. This one is walking. So there's almost this energy of like, any way you got to take out, you will take out this stuff where you are. It's like it's time to change. It's like, Taurus, you can feel the climate changing. And since the climate is changing, the seeds that you plant needs to change. Unless you can like temperature control whatever this is. I don't know if you can. So Taurus, this will be fairly short, but as long as I would say as long as you hold your peace paramount, but as long as you hold your peace paramount and you keep your discerning eye and mind, as long as you stay steadfast to your journey, you're going to get to the place that you really want to be. And with this 10 of Wands being your oncoming challenge, with death being sort of the ground beneath your feet, don't be so quick to let things go. Use your discernment and see what things are actually meant to hold on to. So use your discernment to see what things would be beneficial for you to keep around. Okay? How is it 5:11? How? My whole day, guys. It's fine. All right, Taurus. It was short and sweet, but I mean, keep on trucking. You may be tempted to drop everything, but Taurus, you are a beast of burden. So you're strong enough to carry this load and to keep on moving. Like, you're a Taurus. You're not an ox, but it's still kind of sort of your job. You know, you got this. You're built Tonka tough. What? You're built Tonka tough. Ford tough, whatever they say. You're built to last. You got the stamina. You can see this through. Don't sell yourself short. and don't give up on, what you really want. Last but not least, Gemini coming out right after that Five of Cups. Oh, Five of Cups and the Five of Wands. Gemini. Leo. Mercury. King of Swords. The Sun. Nine of Pentacles. Okay. So we start with the Five of Cups, but we end with the Nine of Pentacles. So it's not all bad. Then we got Pisces. The Two of Swords. The Nine of Wands. And the Seven of Cups. Give me a moment to see how I want to do this. I could go back to the beginning. Sure, why not? We're going back in time. Oh, wait. No. I'm pulling from the bottom, not from the top. Ooh, that tower. Oops. Okay. So we're starting with the Five of Cups and ending with the Fool. So this energy is like nothing will hold you back anymore. It almost feels like there's this energy of like leaving an abuser, low-key. Or naysayers, people who think that you can't do it, people who would hold you back. I'm proving them wrong. Gemini, Leo, Pisces. And that's it. Let me count these up. So I got 2 plus 3 is 5. Plus, 5 plus 4 is 9. Plus 3 is 12. I'm going to say these start at 257.25. Done. Okay. So Gemini, you got the Five of Cups as the winds of change, the wind at your back, the Five of Wands as your oncoming challenge, the Eight of Pentacles as the sky above you. No, the Two of Swords as the sky above you, and the Eight of Pentacles as the ground beneath your feet. So yeah, just like I said, this feels like the energy of leaving an abuser. Like Gemini, I feel like it's kind of sort of that feeling. And this could be you against yourself because you are Gemini. Hey, I'm a Pisces, I understand what it's like to be mutable. I got 2 fish, you got 2 twins. I get it. Virgo and Sagittarius may not understand, but we both got 2, so I got it. But again, like this is your dissatisfaction with life pushing you forward. Your sadness pushing you forward. And your oncoming challenge could be anything and everything, Gemini, because you got the card of conflict. The ground beneath your feet with the Eight of Pentacles is you've done something for a long time. You may feel fixed in your habits, and with the Two of Swords being the sky above you, you may not necessarily trust in your ability to do whatever it is you need to do for you right now. So Gemini, I'm sending you strength. Because I feel like with this energy, it would be really easy to go back to something that you don't want to go to. But if you keep in mind how much you don't want to be there, that could be enough to motivate you through the challenge. And it almost feels that like, it almost feels like you can't really fully see yourself outside of the situation. And so since you can't see yourself not in the situation, it makes it even more difficult to really stick to getting out of it. But Gemini, you have every element. 5 of Cups, 2 of Swords, 8 of Pentacles, and the 5 of Wands. Like, your ruling planet Mercury is with you. Sitting around Mercury is the King of Swords, the Magician, the 4 of Swords, and the High Priestess. So lots of major energy. Water, fire, and air. And so, I mean, you have everything that you need at your disposal. You are completely capable of overcoming these challenges. It is not necessarily going to be extremely easy, but you have enough within you to overcome it if you so choose. And it's like deep down, I feel like you know you can do it. But it's almost like that voice is so small in you that as soon as you're encountered with some resistance, it's like it almost gets drowned out. So Gemini, continue to believe in yourself, continue to believe in your future, continue to strive, and know that anything you can sort of conceive, you can do, right? But it's going to require a certain element of dedication. And it's going to require you to continue to choose whatever you're choosing to get out of the situation you were just in. Okay? So now moving over to Leo, which is right next to Gemini, separated by this 5 of Wands. So Leo, the 5 of Wands, 1 second. I'm back, y'all. Sorry for that. Mother calls. And when mother calls, I answer because I don't want to be homeless. And I'm not permitted to move yet. So that will be happening here in the near future. So the wins at your back, Leo, is this conflict. So Leo was like, I'm done with the conflict. Leo was so over the conflict and so over the petty drama that they are manifesting something brand new. But the challenge is going to be actually making it happen because it almost seems like they don't know what they want. With the 7 of Cups as the star you're reaching for, and the King of Cups being the ground at your feet, it's like, I feel like you want to move, but you don't want to move. Right? Because it's like you want to leave, but I feel like you still feel emotionally tied somewhere. And so it almost feels that like there is so much happening in your immediate environment that is causing you to want your own space and to move into your own space. And so as you encounter more and more frustration, you're manifesting or solidifying more and more qualities that you want in your environment and the people in your life and all kinds of things. But at the same time, since you are Leo, right, it feels like you are like you don't want to leave the pride either. It's like you do because you're wanting your own space, but you don't because you're emotionally invested. And a little bit of distance is okay, you know. And also with the Seven of Cups, I don't know if you too much see that everything that you're manifesting can all fit under one package. It can all fit in one package, if that makes sense. Right? Because it's like you're all of this conflict and contention, and it may not necessarily be, it could be like minor annoyances, because it is the Five of Wands, right? It's not the Five of Swords, so ain't nobody necessarily cussing you out and fighting you and doing all this and doing all that. But it can be lots of little things that are just building up. That's like, man, I want my own space. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do that. I want this in a person. I want that in a person. You know, and it's like you think you're manifesting all of these different things, but in reality, it's like you can fit all of these in one cup. Just get a bigger cup. If you get a bigger cup, you can fit 7 cups worth of liquid in it, right? Stop using little teacups. Get you a big gulp. From the Shell. I don't know. Do Shell still exist? I'm sure Shell gas stations still exist. I just don't have any in my hometown. We don't have a 7-Eleven either, so I don't get any of those like slushies or freezies or whatever. Now I kind of want one. Anyway. So for you, Leo, I would say that like also, hold up 1 second. It also kind of sort of low key feels like there are many demands on your love and on your attention, but you only want to give it to one. But there's a lot sort of like coming at you, and maybe you are manifesting it, but you don't know which one is the one. But with this King of Cups, like you do know, but with the Seven of Cups, you don't. But with this being the King of Cups, it's almost asking the question, what will this require of you? And honestly, Leo, like the only thing that this will require of you is yourself. Right? This King of Cups is the ground that you're standing on. Because if I move it like this, it would be down there, you know? And the King of Cups is sitting between the Five of Pentacles and the High Priestess. So you know that this is your way out of whatever this energy is. And then the Seven of Cups is between the Nine of Wands and the Four of Swords. So there's also an element of peace here that you would be getting potentially. But Leo energy and the King of Cups energy is pretty similar. It's not too far off. Like Leo is a very loving, very kind, very compassionate, family-oriented energy. But it may not necessarily be the most vulnerable. So the King of Cups is asking you maybe not to necessarily change yourself too much, but to just be more vulnerable and open with yourself. Honestly, with yourself, because the King of Cups is the ground that you're standing on. So the more you learn to love and honor and hold yourself, the more willing you'll be to allow that energy into your life and to allow someone else to do the same. And until you do that, you're going to find more peace and comfort in these Five of Wands situations because they don't really require much of you. Even though you don't want them, even though you wouldn't be satisfied with it, it wouldn't require much. And so, you know, Leo, it's time to roar. And you're not a little kitten anymore. You know, you're a big cat now. I'm a big cat now. Pisces, last but not least, even when I went in a random order, Pisces, you still ended up being last, and I am a Pisces, so, you know, sometimes I got to do us first. Soon. But, you know, the cards decided. Pisces, you are sitting at a little bit of a crossroads, I would say. Every element except for Earth for you, Pisces. You got the Two of Swords, the Five of Swords, which is 7 swords, the Five of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. So the air at your back, like, you want to move forward. Pisces, I think you dreamt a dream that you like. And you can kind of sort of see it happen. But your oncoming challenge is this Two of Swords. The Pisces, natural worst enemy. Indecision. Oof. Gemini got indecision too, didn't they? Man, Gemini and Pisces. At the intersection of multiple personalities and indecision. I'm sorry, I'm just playing. I'm kidding. But I'm a Pisces, so I know how indecisive we can be. The ground beneath your feet is the Five of Cups, and the star that you're reaching for is the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords, so it's like there's something that you really want, and you want to go after it. Your challenge is making a decision and actually going after it. And like, so let's look at this. Because I looked at the Tower before this Knight of Wands, and then the Seven of Swords is before the Tower. 7 of Swords here, 7 swords here. So this is like leading up. So 7 of Swords in the past, you feel like you were missing out on multiple opportunities. Then you have this Tower moment. Then you find something that you actually want right after this Tower moment. I don't know if you too much had time to breathe between this Tower moment and this Knight of Wands, or if this Knight of Wands rode out of this tower as it was going down. But I feel like you're reaching the space, Pisces, where you no longer want to stand in the way of your own opportunities, because your indecisiveness can get you to pass up on things that you actually want. And with the Five of Cups, Scorpio energy, sort of at your feet, the ground that you're standing on right now, it's like misery is somewhat your default. And it's not your default, even if you are changing, it's so much of what you feel you've known. And so to make this decision would require this from you. And the Five of Swords, that came out yesterday in the angel spread. The Five of Swords is also the angel in the Spencer's tarot cards deck. And so, but the Five of Swords was all about sticking to your guns, even when everything else sort of tries to convince you otherwise. And the Five of Swords was the attitude to be in, to claim everything that you want. So the fact that the Five of Swords is sitting in the space of the sky is actually kind of sort of beautiful, because this means that if you can make this decision and stick to it, you have the opportunity to elevate yourself out of all of this. To the point where this Five of Cups will be a distant memory. So Pisces, it's quick for you too. You already know what you want to do. With the Knight of Wands, you already know what you want to do. You already know. Like, you already know. You already know what you want to do. And so I don't know why you're not doing it, because you're at this moment of indecision. Still coming out of this heartbreak, maybe, or coming out of some kind of loneliness with the Tower right behind this Knight of Wands too. And you may be feeling like it's going to require more from you than you have to give. But the rest of our lives, we live day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, and second by second. So if you can be who you are in this moment and in the next moment, and if you can just continue to focus on being the better or best you in this now moment that you can be, then you don't have to worry about the long future ahead of you. Pisces, I mean, because, you know, the 12th house is our house, and it's the house of undoing. And so we can also kind of sort of, anybody can, but we can also kind of sort of fall into that energy of waiting for the other shoe to drop. And so it feels like you don't want to give to, it's like, it almost feels like you don't want to believe in this too much because you don't want to be disappointed, right? And then we have the Lovers and the Eight of Pentacles flanking this indecision. But that's making the choice. And this is, you know, just continuing to show up, just day by day. This is day by day. This is day by day energy. Yeah, it's almost like with this Five of Swords, there are worries and fears that this won't work out either. Maybe that you'll mess it up, or somebody else will mess it up, or the job won't actually be whatever. But it's time to let all that go. Pisces. Right? Mars is in your sign right now, for gosh darn sakes. Mars in Pisces is third decan Pisces. Mars is the decan ruler of the third decan of Pisces, and it's the 10 of Cups. You want that 10 of Cups? You want that 10 of Cups, Pisces? You want that 10 of Cups? Well, you're going to have to make a decision, and then you're going to have to act, and you're going to have to do something. And, you know, it came into my mind, like, yesterday at some point. It's like there are some big fish that will keep themselves in small ponds so that they can be the big fish. And then there are some big fish who will go to a bigger pond where they're not the biggest fish, but in that bigger pond, they get bigger, right? It's time to get bigger, Pisces. It's time to take your little goldfish out of that little plastic bag that you got from the carnival. You got 2 goldfish in 1 plastic bag at the carnival. It's time to put them in a bowl so you can move them to a tank. You know, make sure with goldfish you clean the tank pretty often, because I think they put out a lot of nitrogen. And so if you don't clean the tank often enough, it'll kill them, because it'll build up to dangerous levels in the water. But a goldfish can grow to the size of the tank you put it in. Just like your dreams, Pisces. So you're gonna, you know, move some things out of that small tank, or are you just gonna keep puddling around? I don't know. That's what I got for everyone. I'm gonna do my final message because y'all know I like doing final messages. I was gonna do this a minute ago, honestly, but you know, all the other spreads weren't necessarily working today, and I was not about to get into whatever that mess was trying to come out. I was like, I ain't got the time for it today. I'm sorry. So I ended up doing this, which I think might have worked out. I don't know. They kind of sort of go all over the place, honestly. But again, you know, this energy is playing out in different areas of our lives, and it's all about illumination and restoration and decision making. Tower. Ooh, with the Lovers and the Eight of Pentacles at the top. Propeller Seeds just came into my mind. Ooh, with the 10 of Cups and the Lovers. That, oh, okay. Well, Propeller Seeds, with the Magician and the 10 of Cups. Okay. See? These are not shuffling, though. It did it again. Come on. Well, they said put the Tower back. Okay. Ooh, the Wheel of Fortune in the Tower. It's actually the Wheel of the Year in this deck. So there we go. All right. Final card. Final messages. I want to take a nap. I want to eat some food. King of Pentacles, we'll note that. It ain't come all the way out, so, you know, we'll put it back. This is like fairly real time when I stream. If I open up OBS, it'd be like a 30-second delay. 30-second delay. Let's see. Let's see. This ain't really one of my talking decks, Loki. Okay, well, shoot. Ooh, 668. With the star on the bottom, though, this is a 17-6. And if you subtract 1 from 7, you get 6. So there's that. 6 of Cups, 6 of Swords, and the 6, and the 8 of, almost at Wands. What's at the top of the deck? Top of the deck is the Ace of Wands. With the star card at the bottom. So the 6 of Cups and the 6 of Swords, navigating to the 8 of Swords. What is this? The 6 of Cups is us looking back on everything. The 6 of Swords is sailing away from it, and the 8 of Swords is sort of being mentally trapped. This almost feels like our mental child, our inner child, taking this fairy to come and save us from ourselves. And so whatever your happiness, whatever your joy, allow that to liberate you from whatever this is. Because there's a purity in childhood that can dissolve any of these illusions. So that's what I got. I hope you hope this resonated. I hope you enjoyed it. The star again is at the bottom of the deck, so you know, everything you want, everything you wish for, everything you hope for, all in one place within you. I will catch y'all later. I'm gonna take a nap because I'm tired and I'm sleepy, so I'm gonna rest up for whatever I'm resting up for. Don't know yet, but it's gonna be big. So I'll catch y'all later again, and bye. I will put actually, give me a second. I want to come in here real quick on my phone so I can just come in and comment these timestamps. Because once it's in my history, then I can go back to the video before waiting for it to upload. And all right, I will catch you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.